Chapter 533. Within the human emperor hall of the royal palace, the human emperor was lying on his dragon bed in a luxurious chamber. The human emperor of Yi, although he was quietly lying there, exuded a sense of majesty. His black hair had a few strands of silver mixed within, making him extremely conspicuous. His eyes were opened, revealing traces of fatigue. However, that majestic countenance of his had a faint smile on it as he stared at the beautiful maiden beside him. He knew that this woman was none other than the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. If it wasn't for the fact that Yi had some friendship with the Medicine Sovereign Valley in the past, the Medicine Sovereign Valley wouldn't have sent their holy maiden here personally. Very few people in the outside world knew of the strength of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. They wouldn't interfere with external affairs, but because they were proficient in pill concoction, no one dared to offend them. However, what made the human emperor taken aback was that the person standing beside the holy maiden was actually a young man. This young man was extraordinarily handsome and stood out from the crowd. As the human emperor of Yi, he had seen countless people in his life and he could faintly sense that this young man in front of him was no ordinary person. Standing in the majestic chamber of the human emperor, Qin Wentian's heart was as calm as still water, even looking at him as though he was an ordinary injured person. Even though he was heavily injured, he was still as imposing as ever. A single glance from him could cause the hearts of juniors to tremble in fear. Royal Father, this is Qin Wentian, a junior brother of mine who just joined the sect. On the first day he stepped into the battle sword sect, he comprehended 14 sword strikes in front of the grass hut, breaking the record of the 7th and 14th sword strikes consecutively. Many elders wanted to take him as a disciple and even the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness personally invited him, only to be rejected by junior brother Qin. Yi Lingshuang sat on the bed as she smiled at her father. The human emperor nodded, he naturally knew about the legend of the battle sword sect's grass hut. That old witch, the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness, is extremely arrogant. Little brother Qin actually rejected her invitation to take him as a disciple in front of so many people. The younger generations will surpass us in time. Emperor Yi laughed, his words causing those from the battle sword sect to be astonished. Only the human emperor of ancient countries or the clan leaders of the major clans would dare to refer to the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness as an old witch. Junior brother Qin and the holy maiden are truly a match made in heaven. Yi Lingshuang held on to the human emperor's hand as she smiled. Although her heart was filled with sorrow, Yi Lingshuang still had a radiant smile in front of the human emperor. The human emperor didn't find it strange. In fact, when the holy maiden came in for the second time to diagnose him and saw how intimate the two of them were, Yi Lingshuang's first sentence allowed him to guess the relationship between the two of them. Most probably, the holy maiden took into consideration that Qin Wentian was the junior apprentice brother of his daughter, Yi Lingshuang, which was why she was willing to diagnose him again. It is indeed a match made in heaven. The human emperor laughed. He wasn't trying to flatter Qin Wentian. What sort of character was he? The human emperor of Yi country, he could dominate the world unhindered. Even if he had to face a life and death situation, he wouldn't go so far as to flatter others. It was just that when he stared at this couple before him, he couldn't help but think back to when he was young. Bai Yu, do you still remember the 7-colored phoenix feather robe? The human emperor glanced at a beautiful lady beside him. This was none other than his wife, the Empress of Yi country. I still remember. Back then when the two of us roamed the Supreme Demon Mountain Range, we slayed a Yafeng and obtained its wings to forge a divine weapon. The Empress of Yi smiled. Give it to the holy maiden as a congratulatory gift for their wedding in the future. How about it? The human emperor spoke to the Empress. Senior human emperor. Qin Wentian felt some shock in his heart. Just when he wanted to reject, the human emperor continued, although I'm in dire straits, I still have many treasures. This divine weapon isn't for you but for your future wife. How can you reject it? Qin Wentian's eyes flickered before he nodded his head, in that case, many thanks to Senior Human Emperor. He wasn't a pretentious person. Since the human emperor said so, he could only accept it. Mo Qingqing's beautiful eyes flickered. Seeing that Qin Wentian had agreed, she didn't say anything else. An instant later, the empress walked over with a brocade box in her hands. Within it, there was a dazzling 7-colored divine robe. The robe shimmered with astral light, yet it was so thin that it seemed to be translucent. This divine weapon was forged by the human emperor in the past, and was given to the empress as a token of love. After that, the human emperor and the empress got married. The meaning behind this gift is extraordinary. One of the human emperor's concubines smiled. Evidently, the human emperor hoped that this pair of youths would become a pair in the future. Mo Qingqing glanced at Qin Wentian beside her, as a hint of sweetness could be seen in her eyes. She received the treasure and spoke with gratitude, many thanks to the human emperor and empress. You came all the way here to treat a dying man like me. Little brother is also the junior apprentice brother of Lingshuang. With such fate, what does a mere gift count for? The human emperor casually laughed. However, his voice was filled with a faint sense of weakness, as though he was out of breath. The poison he was afflicted with is a blood poison. At this moment, a voice drifted over. Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened as he turned his head, staring at Mu Feng as he asked, "Mu Feng, do you know of this poison?" The concealment ability of the blood poison is the strongest, but once it's activated, its toxicity is also the most terrifying. It hides within the blood vessels, and once it's activated, the blood vessels will circulate throughout the entire body, causing every part of the body to be tainted with this poison. There's no cure, and it's extremely difficult to use medicinal pills or medicinal herbs to cure it. Unless it's a supreme-grade medicinal pill, it would be able to transform one's blood vessels, and at the same time, imbue it with healing properties. Every drop of blood is a medicinal pill, and after it's activated, it would circulate throughout the entire body, cleansing the body of the poison. Mu Feng explained. Mo Qingqing's heart trembled. She knew that the human emperor's poison had already spread throughout his entire body. However, she wasn't proficient in poison, and didn't know that this was caused by the blood poison. The people in the ancient hall all stared at Mu Feng. They didn't expect this person to be proficient in poison. "He's my friend, Mu Feng. His master is known as the Poison King, and I'm sure he's extremely proficient in poison." Qin Wentian introduced. "Qingqing, do you have such a medicinal pill?" There's indeed a medicinal pill that can cleanse the poison in one's blood. However, since this poison was able to harm the human emperor, it should be extremely tyrannical. Only a 5th-ranked medicinal pill would be able to cleanse it. However, this medicinal pill is too rare, I've never heard of it before. I wonder if Master knows of it, Mo Qingqing whispered. Mo Qingqing spoke in a low voice. The human emperor laughed. What a ruthless method. Since they poisoned me, how could they allow me to recover so easily? At this moment, Mu Feng's gaze shifted onto Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows as a bright light flashed in his mind. He suddenly understood the meaning behind Mu Feng's gaze. Back then, he was poisoned by Mu Feng, but he managed to heal himself. It seemed like Mu Feng still remembered this scene. Since Qin Wentian was able to heal himself, it meant that there must be something extraordinary about his body. Qin Wentian closed his eyes, quietly comprehending the second type of bloodline power within his body. Back then, it was precisely this bloodline power that helped him expel all the poison in his body, making him impervious to all poisons. Holy Maiden, is there really no way to find such a medicinal pill? Yi Lingshuang stared at Mo Qingqing, a glimmer of hope in her eyes. However, Mo Qingqing shook her head. I really have no idea. It's unheard of for one's bloodline to possess a healing ability. Even some of the elders in the Medicine Sovereign Valley might not be able to do so. Also, the human emperor has already experienced a great battle, and the poison has already spread to all parts of his body. Other than this method, there's no other way to cure him. No wonder they spared no expense to force me to fight. Seems like this is heaven's will. Now, the only thing I'm worried about is you guys. After I die, they will definitely not spare you. The human emperor stared at his wife and children. Royal father. Yi Lingshuang's eyes were slightly moist, she couldn't suppress the sadness in her heart. The human emperor of a generation was at the end of his life. Who could read the eyes of the human emperor? He only wished for the safety of his family. There's still hope. Qin Wentian opened his eyes, causing the gazes of everyone to turn to him. Senior human emperor, you can rest in peace. As for the matter of recovery, we will discuss it when we return. Qin Wentian didn't say anything more. The implications of the human emperor's injuries were too great. If others knew that there was a possibility to cure him, there would definitely be people who would take the risk. That would be disadvantageous to them. Hence, even if they could cure the human emperor, they had to be incomparably cautious. A bright light flashed in the eyes of the human emperor. He stared deeply at Qin Wentian as he spoke, "Fine, as long as I'm not dead, they wouldn't dare to act recklessly. Even if I die, I will make them wait patiently. I really want to see who would dare to overturn the heavens in the Yi country if this emperor doesn't close my eyes." An expression of admiration appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Even at the brink of death, the human emperor was still so tyrannical. As long as he wasn't dead, there wouldn't be anyone who would dare to launch a coup d'état. Such a ruthless hegemon, even when he was on the verge of death, still possessed such terrifying might. One could very well imagine how awe-inspiring he was back then. Qin Wentian and the rest bid their farewells and returned to the Medicine Sovereign Palace prepared for those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. The people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley frowned when they saw Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing walking side by side towards the direction of Mo Qingqing's sleeping quarters. As the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, Mo Qingqing's status was extraordinary. Each and every one of her actions represented the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Holy Maiden. Upon thinking of this, someone called out to Mo Qingqing and Qin Wentian. Mo Qingqing turned her head and asked, "What's the matter?" The sleeping quarters of the Holy Maiden are not to be entered by outsiders. One of the maidens stared at Qin Wentian as she coldly spoke. Impudent. Mo Qingqing coldly snorted when she saw that the maidens were targeting Qin Wentian. Her words caused the countenance of the maidens to change as she bowed. "Holy Maiden, this concerns your reputation. In any case, this place is the royal palace of the Yi country, there's no way you can hide this from the eyes and ears of others." Qingqing. Qin Wentian's heart trembled, the words of the maidens weren't without reason. If Mo Qingqing's reputation was damaged, he naturally wouldn't be willing to do so. However, Mo Qingqing held on to his hand as she turned her head to look at him with a radiant smile on her face. Maybe, only when facing him, would Mo Qingqing reveal such a smile. "Let me tell all of you right now, I'm his wife." Mo Qingqing spoke to the maidens. After which, she pulled Qin Wentian along as she continued, "Without my command, no one is to disturb us." The countenances of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley froze, all of them were speechless. The feelings the Holy Maiden had for Qin Wentian had already surpassed everything. It was more important than her status as the Holy Maiden, more important than her reputation, and even more important than the Medicine Sovereign Valley. This was something they couldn't accept. No one is to divulge any information regarding this matter. One of the maidens coldly stated. "Seal this entire space." Chapter 534. Qin Wentian followed Mo Qingqing into her bedroom, feeling a faint warmth in his heart. They had reunited after such a long time and their fates were unknown. After Mo Qingqing lost her memories, she was able to remember him with just a single glance. How could Qin Wentian not feel such deep emotions? The two of them sat in front of the warm jade bed. Mo Qingqing leaned against Qin Wentian's chest. The two of them didn't say anything, they were only enjoying this rare moment of warmth. Ever since Mo Qingqing was brought away by Luo He from Chu, they had never been able to be together in such a peaceful and carefree manner. Qin Wentian hugged the alluring figure of Mo Qingqing. Mo Qingqing inclined her head slightly as she smiled sweetly at him. Dumbo. It has been so many years, why are you still a Dumbo? Qin Wentian pinched Mo Qingqing's nose as he thought back to the time when they were young. Warmth flowed through his heart, how simple and honest they were back then. Dumbo, Dumbo. Mo Qingqing giggled. Staring at that flawless countenance, Qin Wentian couldn't help but be a little dazed. Upon seeing the look in Qin Wentian's eyes, Mo Qingqing's cheeks flushed red, causing her beauty to intensify, causing the hearts of those who looked at her to palpitate. She was too beautiful, enough to cause everyone in the world to suffocate. What are you looking at? Mo Qingqing couldn't stand the look in Qin Wentian's eyes. She shyly dived into his embrace. Qin Wentian laughed carefreely, hugging Mo Qingqing just like that, enjoying the fragrance of the woman he loved deeply. His eyes grew misty. After so many years, he had never felt so relaxed before. Maybe only when he was together with Qingqing would he be able to let go of everything in his heart. She was the harbor of his soul. Qingqing, there's a surge of energy in my body that can expel poison. It's like a bloodline energy. Can I guide it into the human emperor's body and fuse it with his bloodline, allowing the human emperor's bloodline to have a healing ability? Qin Wentian couldn't help but ask when he thought of the human emperor. Mo Qingqing came out from Qin Wentian's embrace. Her beautiful eyes flashed with a strange light as she asked, Wentian, are you sure that this bloodline is able to expel all poisons? If you want to infuse your power into the human emperor's body, you need to fuse your blood, which may lead to the poison invading your blood. I won't allow you to suffer any harm. There should be no problem. Qin Wentian told Mo Qingqing about how he was poisoned back then, causing a look of contemplation to appear on Mo Qingqing's face. An instant later, she replied, if there really is such a bloodline ability, as long as we supplement it with a few types of medicinal pills, we should be able to achieve the desired effect. If it really has the effect of expelling the poison, as long as the human emperor recuperates for a period of time and uses medicinal pills to recuperate, he should be able to recover. After all, the most serious injury the human emperor suffers from is poison. If it's possible, I hope to be able to cure the human emperor. A look of contemplation appeared on Qin Wentian's face. The personality of the human emperor was truly worthy of respect. Not only that, the human emperor was Yi Lingshuang's father. In addition to Yi Kongfan's hatred for him, no matter how one looked at it, Qin Wentian should cure the human emperor and rebuild the Yi country. Such a powerful ancient country couldn't be compared to mortal countries. Usually, the strongest among them would be able to decide everything. The human emperor alone could dominate an entire country. Right now, even though the human emperor was on the brink of death and the Qi king and the others had the advantage, they still didn't dare to kill everyone. This was because they were afraid of the human emperor's might. They were worried that the human emperor would give up his life in a fit of rage. Hence, to them, they would rather slowly exhaust the human emperor to death. After all, the injuries of the human emperor would only worsen. In that case, I need to see the strength of your bloodline first. If not, I won't be at ease. Mo Qingqing's limpid eyes stared at Qin Wentian, causing Qin Wentian to laugh. What do you want me to do? Mo Qingqing didn't reply, she only stared at him with deep emotions, as though wanting to melt his heart. Staring at that countenance of hers, Qin Wentian's heart pounded violently. To be alone with such an empire-toppling beauty, it truly caused his heart to be stirred. Dumbo. Mo Qingqing bit her lips as a blush appeared on her cheeks. Qin Wentian sighed, Qingqing, in this life, with you as my wife, what more can I ask for? After speaking, Qin Wentian also let go of the fetters in his heart. She loved him deeply, and he loved her deeply as well. She had already told others, disregarding everything else, that she was his wife. He also firmly believed that he would be able to take care of this young lady in front of him forever. Mo Qingqing, she would forever be the pure and innocent young lady in Qin Wentian's heart. 10 years, with a single glance, their love was determined for this life. On the road to the ends of the earth, life and death together. There was no such thing as love in the world. A distance of 100,000 miles makes it hard for them to meet again. Life and death are hard to separate. A beauty is still faintly discernible. In the depths of love, how could one restrain oneself? 3 days later, in a palace, Yi Kongfan's countenance was extremely gloomy. He no longer had that carefree demeanor. In front of him, 2 people came to report some news. During these 3 days, the people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley had locked down the sleeping chambers they were staying in. But after all, they were in the depths of the royal palace. How could they hide anything from him? For a total of 3 days, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing were both alone in the sleeping chambers. Every time he thought of this, Yi Kongfan's heart would turn cold as his killing intent gushed forth. Back then, when the people from the human emperor's bloodline went to invite the people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley over, Yi Kongfan also felt an intense enmity towards them. But the instant he saw Mo Qingqing, all the enmity vanished. He wanted to subdue this pure and holy woman. He wanted to obtain Mo Qingqing and make her his woman. He, Yi Kongfan, had always been extraordinary. He was the son of the Qi king of Yi country, possessing the heavenly lightning physique, calamity lightning bloodline, and was a chosen of the Violet Thunder sect. He believed that he was the chosen of the heavens and that the ancient Yi country would be under his control in the future. Mo Qingqing, as the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, had a countenance so beautiful that it could topple empires. The moment she appeared, Yi Kongfan felt that this was a woman bestowed to him by the heavens. Yi Kongfan was truly extraordinary. He had already dispelled all hostility he had towards the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Even though they were here to help his enemies, he still treated them with respect and treated them with utmost respect. This was all for the sake of their beauty. However, Mo Qingqing didn't mince words when she spoke to him. She was as cold and aloof as a winter plum blossom, pure and holy. Yet this only made Yi Kongfan's desire to subdue her even stronger. This was the type of woman he wanted to obtain, cold and pure. If he could subdue her, he would definitely become the envy of countless people. Hence, he wasn't anxious at all. However, the appearance of Qin Wentian shattered Yi Kongfan's fantasies. That holy and aloof maiden only glanced at Qin Wentian once before she threw herself into his embrace, tears streaming down her face like rain. She was completely immersed in love. How could there be any trace of her holy and aloof demeanor left? But even so, Yi Kongfan still held on to a glimmer of hope. He, Yi Kongfan, was a chosen of the heavens. How could he lose to a disciple of the battle sword sect? But now, this glimmer of hope was completely shattered. Every time he thought of the 2 of them staying in their chambers for the past 3 days, Yi Kongfan's heart would burn with jealousy. Slut, I still thought you were so pure and holy. Yi Kongfan slammed his palms onto the chair beside him, directly shattering it. When he thought of that beautiful face that could topple empires, enjoying the pleasures of Qin Wentian, his countenance turned malevolent. Slut, I will make you regret this. Yi Kongfan icily spoke. I want her to lose all of her reputation. I don't need to teach you what to do, right? Yes, Crown Prince. The people in front of him bowed slightly. Staring at the sinister look in Yi Kongfan's eyes, they felt a wave of fear. That gaze was too terrifying, like a blazing inferno. It seemed like this heaven's chosen had suffered a heavy blow this time around. What are you all still waiting for? Yi Kongfan swept his gaze over to them. Momentarily, the few of them bowed and retreated, leaving the great hall. In the residence of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley, the mood of those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley was extremely bad these few days. Today, Lin Yu requested permission to enter Mo Qingqing's chambers. However, When she entered, she only saw Mo Qingcheng and Qin Wentian in the midst of concocting medicinal pills. Her countenance involuntarily froze. The current Mo Qingcheng was even more charming, exuding a sense of nobility and elegance, causing others to not dare to stare at her directly. However, when she was facing Qin Wentian, that alluring expression on her face caused even Lin Yu, who was a female, to be stunned by her beauty. The Holy Maiden originally had a countenance that could topple empires. Her demeanor was elegant, and she also had an exquisite heart. There seemed to be a halo around her, and now, other than that pure and holy aura, she exuded an additional sense of femininity, causing people to feel as though they were bewitched just by looking at her. Most probably, no man in the world would be able to resist the charm of the Holy Maiden. Lin Yu silently mused. "What's the matter?" Mo Qingcheng turned her head and stared at Lin Yu, regaining her elegance and nobility, causing others to not dare to profane her. "Nothing much, it's just that Master ordered me to come here to see if anything happened to the Holy Maiden." "Why didn't you leave the chambers for the past 3 days?" Lin Yu respectfully asked. "Do I need to tell you what I'm doing? If your master is unhappy, just tell her to return to the Medicine Sovereign Valley." Mo Qingcheng's voice contained traces of coldness, causing Lin Yu's heart to tremble. After which, she bowed and replied, "Master is also worried about the Holy Maiden. Lin Yu will take her leave now." After speaking, she retreated from the chambers. Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qingcheng, feeling that it was extremely funny. This caused Mo Qingcheng to glare at him. "What are you laughing at? My Qingcheng actually has such a majestic side to her." Qin Wentian joked, yet he was sighing in his heart. Mo Qingcheng told him that she had no idea who sent her to the Medicine Sovereign Valley. After that, the Medicine Sovereign personally treated her injuries, guided her, and even bestowed her the title of Holy Maiden. Mo Qingcheng's status was so high, there would naturally be pressure as well. Not only that, the Medicine Sovereign Valley was also a transcendent power. How could there not be competition? As the Holy Maiden, how could Mo Qingcheng not have her own prestige? "You don't like it?" Mo Qingcheng's beautiful eyes stared at Qin Wentian, as though she was worried that he wouldn't like it. "How can that be? No matter what you do, I like it." Qin Wentian laughed. Just by hearing the sweet words exchanged between the two of them, he could tell that their relationship had grown closer. Mo Qingcheng retracted her hands and quietly rested them on Qin Wentian's shoulders. If the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was seen by others, it was unknown how many people would be envious of her. "The medicinal pills we prepared are almost done. However, if we want to treat the human emperor's injuries, we have to do it secretly. If not, if we arouse their suspicions, they might take the risk." Mo Qingcheng spoke. Qin Wentian nodded, he had naturally thought of this point as well. "Only the two of us know about this matter. Don't tell anyone else from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. We will just say that we went to visit the human emperor to check on his injuries like usual." Qin Wentian spoke in a low voice. He already had an idea in his heart. If they were to publicly announce that they were treating the human emperor, given the Qi King's current control over the royal palace, it would be impossible to hide this from the Qi King's eyes. Chapter 535. Today, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng finally walked out of their chambers. Both of them were in high spirits, and as the sunlight cascaded down on them, Mo Qingcheng closed her eyes and drew in a deep breath. She then opened her arms, as though wanting to embrace the sunlight. "It's so good to have you around." Mo Qingcheng's countenance flickered with the glow of happiness. These few days, she was always together with Qin Wentian, occasionally concocting pills. The feeling she had was so surreal. If she could live like this for the rest of her life, she would have nothing more to ask for. Qin Wentian turned his head, seeing the sunlight cascading down on Mo Qingcheng's flawless countenance, the smile on his face grew even more radiant. Such a wife was something countless men yearned for even in their dreams. Qingqing, you are the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. One day, I will hold the grandest wedding for you in the royal sacred region, letting everyone in the world know that you are my wife. Qin Wentian silently vowed in his heart. Mo Qingqing disregarded her reputation to be together with him, completely giving herself to him. He, Qin Wentian, was a man of character. How could he let Qingqing down? How could he not give Mo Qingqing a proper status? Although he knew that Mo Qingqing didn't care about her reputation, he did. He wanted Mo Qingqing to marry him in a grand fashion, letting everyone in the world know that the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley had found a good husband. Let's go. Qin Wentian held on to Mo Qingqing's hand. Mo Qingqing stared at him as a sweet smile appeared on her face, nodding her head as she walked out. The people from the Medicine Sovereign Valley stood guard in every corner of the grand hall. Upon seeing the two of them walking out, they couldn't help but sigh in their hearts. The holy maiden and Qin Wentian had been cooped up together for 4 days straight. From this, one could tell how much the holy maiden loved the young man in front of her. She didn't care about what the outside world thought of her, nor did she care about her reputation. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley understood that even the Medicine Sovereign wouldn't be able to stop them from being together. But of course, given how much the Medicine Sovereign doted on the holy maiden, how could he stop them? Back then, there was someone who disrespected Mo Qingqing, the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley, saying that she wanted to replace Mo Qingqing. Not only that, the status of that maiden in the Medicine Sovereign Valley was exceedingly high, and her talent was also outstanding. However, the Medicine Sovereign personally interfered in this matter, saying that the maiden had offended her superiors. Hence, the Medicine Sovereign crippled her cultivation base and expelled her from the Medicine Sovereign Valley. After this incident, no one in the Medicine Sovereign Valley dared to provoke Mo Qingqing again. Even if they were unhappy, they wouldn't openly clash with Mo Qingqing. Saintess. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley all bowed when they saw Mo Qingqing. Mo Qingqing faintly stated, "I'm going to check on the injuries of the human emperor. You guys come with me." Right. The maidens nodded as they followed Mo Qingqing to pay a visit to the human emperor. Outside the chambers of the human emperor, there were still many experts present. There were even armored soldiers standing guard. The atmosphere was extremely tight. The Empress, Crown Prince and Yi Lingshuang personally came out to welcome Mo Qingqing when they heard that she wanted to pay a visit. Within the chambers of the human emperor, there were only those close to the human emperor. I've concocted a few medicinal pills, hoping that they would be able to alleviate the injuries of the human emperor. At the same time, I also need to feed the medicinal pills to the human emperor. I'll need some time, so please wait outside and don't disturb me. Mo Qingqing calmly stated. Other than her and Qin Wentian, no one else knew what she wanted to do. Right. The Empress smiled and nodded her head. In that case, I'll have to trouble the holy maiden. Mo Qingqing was still as calm as ever. She casually nodded her head, not revealing the slightest hint of abnormality. In fact, she didn't even instruct the guards to seal off the chambers of the human emperor. Senior Human Emperor, after this, we might be a little disrespectful and do things that are out of line with etiquette. We hope that Senior Human Emperor can forgive us and keep this a secret. Qin Wentian transmitted his voice to the human emperor. Only the human emperor could hear it. The eyes of the human emperor flickered as an intense glint of sharpness flashed past. After which, he blinked his eyes, indicating that he had heard it. As the human emperor, how many storms had he not experienced before? He naturally wouldn't make a big fuss about it. However, seeing how solemn Qin Wentian was, maybe, Senior Human Emperor, please consume this medicinal pill. Mo Qingqing placed a medicinal pill into the human emperor's mouth. The human emperor opened his mouth and swallowed it. At this moment, the empress and the others departed. She turned her head back and glanced at the human emperor. There was nothing to worry about. The holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley wouldn't collude with the Qi King to harm the human emperor. Outside the chambers of the human emperor's chambers, everyone was quietly waiting. The empress glanced at Yi Lingshuang as she smiled. Lingshuang, this junior brother of yours is an extraordinary character. He is indeed extraordinary. Yi Lingshuang nodded. She carefully thought about everything regarding Qin Wentian. Indeed, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that Qin Wentian was extraordinary. Just the fact that an elder of the Battle Sword sect, as well as her senior brother Lin Shuai, had personally entered the sect from Xian King City and comprehended 14 sword strikes at the same time was sufficient to cause people to feel that something was amiss. Not only that, being able to cause a girl like the Holy Maiden to fall head over heels for him, this fellow is truly amazing when it comes to picking up girls. The Empress laughed. Yi Lingshuang's lips moved closer to the Empress's ears as she whispered, causing the Empress's eyes to brighten. This fellow is truly capable, to think that he still has a mistress in the Battle Sword sect. Not only that, she's also a peerless beauty, much better compared to your royal father. Mother and daughter chatted idly, time flowed by unknowingly, yet there was still no movement from within. Why did the Holy Maiden take so long to enter? A prince asked. The Holy Maiden naturally has her own plans, we just need to wait quietly. The Empress unhappily glanced at the princes. If they were so impatient, how would they be able to accomplish great things? No wonder she, the descendant of the human emperor, was bullied by the various kings. The descendants of the human emperor were truly lacking in talent, they were even inferior to Yi Lingshuang. Time slowly flowed by, even the Empress herself was getting impatient. But when she thought of the Holy Maiden's words, she calmed herself down. Those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley also sensed that something was amiss. If it was just a simple medicinal pill, why would it take so long? Okay, you can enter now. At this moment, Mo Qingqing's voice drifted over. Everyone shook their heads with bitter smiles on their faces, silently musing that they were thinking too much. The Holy Maiden was treating the human emperor's injuries, what other matters could there be? Even they were thinking this way, how could the guards outside be suspicious? The human emperor was still quietly lying there, just like before. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing exchanged glances as they smiled. After which, he spoke, Empress, we will take our leave first. Does the Holy Maiden want to have a meal together? The Empress asked. There's no need. Mo Qingqing shook her head, following behind Qin Wentian as they departed. Junior brother Qin, my fellow disciples from the Battle Sword sect have gone to the Yi country for a stroll. If you have time, you can bring the Holy Maiden there to relax. Yi Lingshuang smiled at Qin Wentian. Okay. Qin Wentian smiled and nodded his head. The two of them slowly departed. Nobody knew what happened in the human emperor's chambers earlier. Although the human emperor had a peaceful smile on his face, his heart was filled with shock. Even now, he still had no way to calm down. These two fellows really have guts and boldness. As he thought of this, a smile appeared on the face of the human emperor. How good would it be if he had a pair of children like them? Sadly, although his daughter wasn't too bad, his sons weren't able to live up to expectations. Without him, there was no way he could dominate this vast ancient country. For the next few days, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing went in and out together, like shadows following the body. Every day, they would go to the human emperor's chambers to take a look, staying for an hour before leaving again. The relationship between them grew closer and closer. This was especially so for the relationship between the human emperor, Qin Wentian, and Mo Qingqing. Their relationship caused the other princes to feel jealousy. Today, in the human emperor's chambers, the human emperor was still lying on his bed, staring at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing as he smiled. Wentian, I have a request. I wish to accept you as my foster son. Are you willing? Qin Wentian's countenance stiffened. Evidently, he was taken aback. He didn't expect the human emperor to have such a thought. However, given the human emperor's status, it was true that he was favoring Qin Wentian. Although Qin Wentian understood how much the human emperor valued him, the fact that he wanted to accept him as his foster son was purely because their personalities were compatible. If you are unwilling, feel free to reject me directly. I won't put it in my heart. The human emperor laughed. Mo Qingqing was the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Their statuses were different, and it wasn't easy for the human emperor to accept her as his foster daughter. But if Qin Wentian agreed to be his foster son, Mo Qingqing would be like a daughter to him. How would Wentian dare to reject the human emperor's kindness? Qin Wentian recalled how he was an orphan since he was young, and was raised by Uncle Black and his foster father Qin Chuan. After roaming the world for so many years, how could he not feel fatigued? Sometimes, he wanted to return to the Sky Harmony city of Chu to take a look, but he knew that he couldn't afford to relax for even a moment. However, the Wentian Plains has a foster father named Qin Chuan. In the future when I meet him, I still have to report this matter to foster father Qin Chuan and seek his approval. Qin Wentian spoke. That's only natural. The human emperor nodded and smiled. The gaze he used to look at the two of them grew gentler and gentler. The empress also smiled as she stared at the two children. Her eyes shone with a motherly light as she smiled. Children, isn't it about time for you to change the way you address me? Wentian pays his respects to foster father and foster mother. Qin Wentian bowed to the human emperor and the empress. Momentarily, everyone in the chamber laughed, and the atmosphere was extremely warm and harmonious. Junior brother, I shall change the way I address you in the future and call you little brother. Yi Lingshuang giggled, thinking back to how she had called Qin Wentian a lecherous fellow not long ago in the battle sword sect. She couldn't help but feel a burst of laughter. The world was always so mysterious, who would have thought that she and Qin Wentian would become siblings? Sister Lingshuang. Qin Wentian awkwardly called out. Yi Lingshuang glanced at Qin Wentian before glancing at the human emperor. Her eyes started to turn moist again, most probably thinking about the injuries of the human emperor, and how long he would be able to last. Even now, Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing still didn't reveal any information to the others. It wasn't that they didn't trust them, but rather, if this matter were to be leaked out, although they wouldn't tell others, it was inevitable that there would be mistakes in their actions. After all, it would take a long time for the human emperor to fully recover. Qin Wentian also thought of Qin Chuan and his sis Qin Yao. He decided that after he broke through to celestial phenomenon, he would return to Grand Xia and settle the matters there before returning to Chu to visit his foster father and sis Qin Yao. His foster father Qin Chuan had shown him kindness as heavy as a mountain. This parting of his had lasted for so many years, he didn't know how Qin Chuan was doing now. Had his sis Qin Yao married again? Wentian, I want you to be the crown prince of Yi. What do you think? At this moment, the human emperor's voice suddenly rang out in Qin Wentian's ears, causing his countenance to flicker. Staring at the look of anticipation in the human emperor's eyes, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Most probably, the human emperor knew that his sons wouldn't be able to shoulder such a heavy responsibility. Even if he handed over the Yi country in the future, they wouldn't be able to become the emperor of a generation. Without tyrannical strength, they wouldn't be able to dominate the various kings and dukes. Foster father, you mustn't. Wentian's ambition doesn't lie here. Qin Wentian knew that the human emperor wanted to hand over the Yi country to him. Most probably, the human emperor believed that with his talent, he would be able to contend against the various kings and dukes in the future, ruling over an ancient country. However, this wasn't Qin Wentian's ambition. The human emperor nodded his head lightly and didn't say anything more. In fact, he didn't even reveal the slightest hint of abnormality. This conversation was only known by the two of them. Chapter 536. After Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing left the human emperor's chamber, the human emperor and the others all had smiles on their faces as they stared at their departing silhouettes. These two little fellows are truly like glue. The empress sat beside the bed of the human emperor. Her slender and warm palms gently caressed the human emperor's face. Most probably, only she could be so intimate with the human emperor. "Are you thinking about us in the past again?" The human emperor held the hands of the empress as he smiled. An apologetic look could be seen in his eyes. Once, the two of them were lovers in the mortal world. After that, he broke through to celestial phenomenon and was chosen as a candidate for the position of the human emperor. He finally defeated all his competitors and officially became the crown prince of an ancient country. Many years later, his martial prowess was unrivaled in Yi and he ascended to the throne. After becoming the human emperor, he had to suppress the various kings as well as unify the ancient country. Most importantly, his cultivation base couldn't fall behind. This was the foundation of him becoming the human emperor. Only with martial prowess would he be able to shake the world. This was also the reason why he was willing to appoint Qin Wentian as the crown prince. He knew very well that given the talent of his sons, it would be impossible for them to suppress the various kings and their descendants. Because of this, he naturally neglected the empress. During these years, he didn't have much time to accompany her. But now that he was seriously ill, the empress had to take care of him all day, not leaving his side for even a moment. This was somewhat ironic, but it also caused him to feel touched in his heart. "Wentian and Qingqing, they are even more outstanding compared to us in the past." The empress clasped the human emperor's hands tightly as a gentle light flashed in her eyes. The human emperor nodded his head. He also felt that the accomplishments of Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing would surpass him sooner or later. His ambition wasn't to unify the ancient country. This matter soon circulated out. After the various kings learned that the human emperor had accepted Qin Wentian as his foster son, they couldn't help but to investigate Qin Wentian's identity while coldly laughing in their hearts. As a disciple of the battle sword sect, it was one thing for him to protect Yi Lingshuang. But now, he actually dared to interfere in the affairs of the royal clan of Yi. How audacious! Did he think that just because of his relationship with Mo Qingqing, he could disregard the various kings? Yi Kongfan originally already hated Qin Wentian in his heart. After hearing this news, the killing intent in his heart grew even stronger. This Qin Wentian was truly lawless, he actually dared to take the human emperor as his foster father. With regards to the reactions of the crowd, Qin Wentian didn't really care about it. He only felt that he and the human emperor were kindred spirits. Given the human emperor's status, it wasn't overboard for the human emperor to request for him to be his godson. In addition, the human emperor also knew of Qin Wentian's current condition. He was slowly recovering, which was why he made such a request. If the human emperor didn't have long to live, he wouldn't have made such a request to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian and thought, Qin Wentian. The human Wentian Yi. You, the emperor's Wentian's face, Chen's king, the emperor's, and the Qin's king, Chen's the human emperor. The emperor, Chen emperor, the king, family, the Chen, the emperor. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing strolled through the royal palace of the Yi country. Upon seeing the people following behind them, Mo Qingqing suddenly smiled at Qin Wentian. "Shall we go to the Yi country for a stroll?" Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qingqing's bright eyes, his heart as clear as a mirror. He understood Mo Qingqing's intentions. Most probably, she also wanted to be like an ordinary person, accompanying the person she loved to stroll around the world, experiencing simple happiness. Sure. Qin Wentian nodded his head lightly. Mo Qingqing couldn't help but smile sweetly when she saw Qin Wentian agreeing. After which, she turned her head and spoke to those from the Medicine Sovereign Valley, "I'm going out for a stroll, don't follow me." Holy Maiden. Someone wanted to say something, yet they only saw a hint of imposingness flickering in Mo Qingqing's eyes. Momentarily, that maiden felt disheartened as she shook her head. "Yes, Holy Maiden." Mo Qingqing turned and pulled on Qin Wentian's hand. "You little lass. Qin Wentian shook his head lightly. In truth, although the conflict in the royal palace of the Yi country had yet to erupt, dark clouds were already looming over the entire country. At such a timing, Qin Wentian understood that the two of them shouldn't leave the royal palace. After all, Qin Wentian's intelligence was no longer the same as before, and he understood the treachery of the human heart. But with regards to Mo Qingqing's request, how could he bear to reject? Hence, a smile appeared on his face as he soared into the air together with Mo Qingqing. The royal capital of the Yi country was extremely flourishing, everywhere was bustling with activity. Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing were like ordinary people walking on the streets. But given their demeanor and looks, it was destined that they wouldn't be ordinary at all. There would always be gazes landing on them as they exclaimed in their hearts. In fact, many people were so stunned by Mo Qingqing's beauty that they stood rooted to the ground, causing Mo Qingqing to pout slightly in dissatisfaction. That adorable expression on her face caused Qin Wentian to smile happily. "You're still smiling." Mo Qingqing pinched Qin Wentian's waist, causing Qin Wentian to smile bitterly. "Qingqing, when we were in Chu, you didn't even dare to go out casually. Could it be that you still don't know how great your charm is? When we were in Chu, I thought it was because of my identity that everyone in Chu knew of me. But this is the Yi country, who would have thought that it would be the same?" Mo Qingqing pouted. When she was by Qin Wentian's side, she was like a young girl back then, pure and innocent. Who doesn't love to be beautiful in this world? Qin Wentian laughed. "Just pretend that you didn't see anything. Dumbo." Mo Qingqing took a few steps forward before turning her head back to glare at Qin Wentian. After which, she elegantly turned and ran away. Qin Wentian had no choice but to follow after her. Just like that, they wandered aimlessly for a long time. The two of them were either walking on the streets, or taking a boat to cruise the lake, admiring the scenery of the ancient capital, or even taking a stroll on an ancient pathway filled with the fragrance of flowers. Qin Wentian's handsome countenance was filled with a gentle smile, while Mo Qingqing's countenance was filled with happiness. The two of them were like an immortal couple, envied by many. When they were tired from walking, the two of them decided to rest at a wine shop by the side of the lake, enjoying the unique fragrance of the wine while admiring the scenery of the lake. It had been a very long time since Qin Wentian had been so relaxed. "Wentian, why don't I bid farewell to Master after I return? I believe Master would agree to it." Mo Qingqing stared into Qin Wentian's eyes, as a thought appeared in her heart. "Don't." Qin Wentian decisively rejected. Staring at Mo Qingqing, and seeing the hidden bitterness in her eyes, Qin Wentian's heart softened. He gently spoke, "Qingqing, you don't even know the identity of the person who sent you to the Medicine Sovereign Valley back then. Your master regards you so highly, how can you let him down?" The status of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was transcendent. Mo Qingqing was conferred the title of Holy Maiden, and those who accompanied Mo Qingqing to the Medicine Sovereign Valley all treated her with reverence. From this, one could tell that Mo Qingqing's status in the Medicine Sovereign Valley was extremely high. Qin Wentian faintly felt that this had something to do with the person who sent Mo Qingqing to the Medicine Sovereign Valley back then. Mo Qingqing's debt of gratitude was as heavy as a mountain, but he didn't know who it was. Not only that, there was another reason that Qin Wentian didn't say. He deeply loved Mo Qingqing, but he didn't wish for her to become his vassal. Mo Qingqing could already concoct fifth-ranked medicinal pills, how terrifying was her alchemy genius. The Medicine Sovereign Valley was undoubtedly the most suitable place for her. How could Qin Wentian waste her time because of him? However, he also understood that Mo Qingqing was willing to give up everything to follow him. Wasn't this a sign of her deep feelings for him? "I understand." Mo Qingqing softly replied. Her eyes were as gentle as water, and could even melt hearts of stone. Mo Qingqing also understood Qin Wentian's intentions. Both of them had a tacit understanding, and they exchanged glances as radiant smiles appeared on their faces. Mo Qingqing would no longer mention the matter of leaving the Medicine Sovereign Valley. The two of them were filled with warmth, enjoying the peace. At another table in the wine shop, there were a few young cultivators seated there. One of them had a frivolous expression, his face was unnaturally fair, and his eyes gleamed with a nefarious light. At this moment, he was staring at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingqing. Or more accurately, he was staring at Mo Qingqing. To think that there's actually such a girl. The young man mused. After which, he glanced at the young man sitting opposite him, and the two of them smiled at each other. "Brother Chu, I'm truly fortunate to have invited me here today." The young man smiled. The young man who was addressed as Brother Chu had an understanding smile on his face as he replied, "I still have something to do, so I'll take my leave first." "Ha!" The young man laughed, "Brother Chu, take care." After the other party left, the young man continued to stare in the direction of Mo Qingqing in an unbridled manner. Qin Wentian naturally sensed this, but he didn't expect that in such an elegant place like this, he would actually meet such a person. How disappointing. "Qingqing, do you want to change our location?" Qin Wentian smiled. Mo Qingqing nodded her head. However, at this moment, the young man stood up and smiled, "Brother, please wait for a moment." Just when Qin Wentian was about to stand up, he didn't expect that the young man would actually stop him. His brows twitched as a cold light flickered in his eyes. "What's the matter?" Qin Wentian glanced at the young man. "I'm Dongshan Jin from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. I can see that you're extraordinary, and I have the intention to befriend you. I wonder if you would give me face and come over for a chat." Dongshan Jin smiled, his words causing the hearts of the people around to tremble. So it turned out that this young man was that lecherous young master from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. This girl was truly unlucky to have encountered this devil incarnate. "Not interested." Qin Wentian faintly replied. Dongshan Jin frowned as a cold light flickered in his eyes. He threatened, "Sir, are you not giving me face?" Scram! A cold light flickered in Qin Wentian's eyes. Momentarily, the people behind Dongshan Jin all had cold expressions on their faces as they asked, "Little Marquis, what should we do?" Dongshan Jin's eyes flickered with a sinister light. His eyes were like venomous snakes as he stared at Qin Wentian. He laughed, "I gave you face but you don't want it. Since this is the case, kill this young man. However, don't injure that beautiful maiden in the slightest. If not, this young master will take your lives." Qin Wentian's brows were still furrowed. His perception permeated the area, and he could sense that there were people monitoring this area. That young man with the surname Chu was still here, and he didn't go too far away. This caused Qin Wentian's heart to be as clear as a mirror. This idiot Dongshan Jin must have become a chess piece used by someone else. As he thought of this, Qin Wentian silently shook his head. Since this was the case, meeting Dongshan Jin here was no longer a coincidence. Someone must have done this intentionally. Qin Wentian glanced at Mo Qingqing. Both of them understood each other's intentions. They didn't expect that they would be targeted by someone else when they were out for a stroll. There was no need to think too much, they already knew who the culprit was. In the Yi country, other than Yi Kong Fan, who else could they have offended? How beautiful, this young master is going to die from her beauty. Dongshan Jin didn't know that he was already on the path of death. He was still staring at Mo Qingqing, fantasizing about some beautiful scenes as an evil light flashed in his eyes. Chapter 537. While Dongshan Jin was fantasizing, his subordinates had already surrounded Qin Wentian, releasing their auras. Even the weakest among them had a cultivation base at the peak of Yuanfu, while the strongest was at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, protecting Dongshan Jin. "Qingqing, it seems like we have to return." Qin Wentian stared at Mo Qingqing as he shook his head with a bitter smile. Since there were people who wanted to target him and Mo Qingcheng, it was obvious that this trash, Dongshan Jin, wasn't the culprit. However, since he had promised Mo Qingcheng that he would accompany her for half a day, there was nothing for him to regret. Yi Kongfan wanted to kill him, but how could it be so easy? Mo Qingcheng had a look of disgust on her face as she stared at the people around her. The conversation between the two of them entered into Dongshan Jin's ears, causing him to be stunned. Although this young man and Mo Qingcheng both exuded extraordinary auras, they weren't even as old as him. How powerful could they be? Not only that, he, Dongshan Jin, was the son of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. He was naturally acquainted with the upper echelons of the Yi country. However, this Dongshan Jin could only blame himself for being ignorant and incompetent, idling about all day. If he paid more attention to the royal clan, he would definitely know that there were many new characters in the royal palace. And these people were all people that he, Dongshan Jin, couldn't afford to antagonize. Little beauty, don't be anxious. I will still serve you well. Hee, what are you guys waiting for? Dongshan Jin grew more and more impatient. He had never laid his hands on such a supreme beauty before. Now that he had met her in this wine shop, how could he not have evil intentions? However, he didn't know that it was precisely because of his lecherous nature that he was being used by others. Bzzz. A long saber slashed out towards Qin Wentian. A malevolent smile could be seen in the eyes of that person. He knew that he would be able to kill Qin Wentian with a single slash. Dang! A crisp sound rang out, the long saber slashed down on Qin Wentian's shoulder, intending to behead him. However, the saber was actually deflected, causing the expressions of those who were preparing to act to stiffen in fear. How powerful was Qin Wentian's current physique, and with the astral energy protecting his body, how could a person at the first level of the Heavenly Dipper realm be able to injure him? You. The expression on the guard's face changed several times. He knew that he had kicked an iron plate. At this moment, Qin Wentian slowly stood up. Suddenly, a suffocating pressure enveloped the entire space. Qin Wentian's long hair fluttered in the wind and the gentle lines on his face gradually became devilishly handsome. His entire body emitted an unparalleled aura. Unrelated people, leave. Qin Wentian said faintly. In an instant, the silhouettes flickered and left. The people around Qin Wentian trembled slightly. Dongshan Jin wasn't a fool. At this moment, how could he not know that he might have offended someone with an extraordinary status? The guard beside him spoke, "Sir, if we have offended you today, please forgive us. We will leave immediately." Qin Wentian turned his head and waved his hand. Instantly, a scream of agony rang out. A sword scar appeared in the center of the forehead of the guard, and he died instantly. The people around him all retreated as expressions of terror appeared on their faces. I'm the son of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. I won't pursue the matter of you killing my subordinates. How about this? Dongshan Jin's heart trembled when he saw the death of one of his subordinates. However, just as he spoke, Qin Wentian's gaze landed on him. In just an instant, he felt as though he had fallen into the depths of hell. A sense of despair and death enveloped him. Just a single glance from Qin Wentian was able to destroy all of his will to live. Qin Wentian took a step forward. Sword chi ravaged the entire space and in an instant, more screams of agony rang out as several guards collapsed to the ground. Sir! The guard beside Dongshan Jin roared, although Sir is very strong, the experts of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor are as numerous as the clouds. If you killed the junior Marquis, I'm afraid you would die as well. Qin Wentian acted as though he didn't hear his words. He took another step forward and instantly, that person felt a towering sword might boring down on him. Qin Wentian lifted his hand and slashed out with his palm. That person explosively retreated, but blood rained down from the sky as a bloody scar appeared in the center of his forehead. No! Viscous blood splattered onto Dongshan Jin's body. He howled, so frightened that his body trembled uncontrollably. Qin Wentian took another step forward. In that instant, all the guards of Dongshan Jin screamed in agony, dying on the spot. Not a single one survived. Dongshan Jin's body directly slumped to the ground, like a pile of mud. He was so frightened that his soul was about to scatter. He stared at Qin Wentian as though he was looking at a devil. He had seen many experts before, but none of them could make him feel such despair. Qin Wentian walked towards him step by step, and with every step he took, there would be people dying. This was a form of mental destruction. After that surname Chu brought you here, he hid far away and monitored the movements here. I'm sure there would be people who would inform you that the Eastern Mountain Marquis' men wanted to assassinate me. However, they would all die. After this battle, even if the Eastern Mountain Marquis killed me, the entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor would be buried with me. Qin Wentian stared disdainfully at Dongshan Jin as he coldly spoke. The cold wind pierced into Dongshan Jin's body, causing him to feel as though he was in hell. Every sentence spoken by Qin Wentian caused him to feel a bone-piercing coldness. How cold! He wasn't so foolish. How could he not understand Qin Wentian's words? Qin Wentian not only wanted his life, but he also wanted to annihilate his entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. What a venomous scheme this was! Right now, he could naturally guess that the identity of this young man in front of him was definitely extraordinary. If he killed him, the entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor would be buried with him. How stupid are you? Why would you be so easily used as a chess piece by others? Qin Wentian's voice was as cold as ever. Dongshan Jin suppressed his fear and climbed up. He stared at Qin Wentian. If you spare me, wouldn't their schemes have no way to succeed? Qin Wentian waved his palm as a palm imprint directly slammed into Dongshan Jin's head, killing him instantly. There were some things that he couldn't spare. If this person only offended him, his crime wouldn't be so severe that he deserved death. However, his words had humiliated Mo Qincheng. Also, how despicable was his heart. If he, Qin Wentian, was weaker, how miserable would his ending be? He wasn't a saint. From the very start, Dongshan Jin was already destined to die. Maybe, the mastermind had already predicted this ending. A raging wind gusted by. Qin Wentian's silhouette vanished from his original location. Far away in a corner, a silhouette was cowering in a corner, trembling in fear. When he sensed the sound of the wind, he started to flee with all his might. Bzzz. A gigantic force directly grabbed hold of the young man surnamed Chu. After which, a gigantic palm imprint slammed into his throat. The countenance of the young man surnamed Chu was filled with terror as his body trembled unceasingly. Earlier, he had personally witnessed the deaths of Dongshan Jin and his companions. This young man was too decisive and terrifying. I'll speak, I'll tell you everything. Even before Qin Wentian finished speaking, the young man surnamed Chu already shouted. Qin Wentian didn't reply, he only waited quietly. Although he knew that there was no one else other than Yi Kong Fan behind the scenes of this matter, he still wanted to hear what this young man knew. The Eagle Marquis Manor has some enmity with the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor, and they wanted to borrow the knife of the Eastern Mountain Marquis to kill me. The Eastern Mountain Marquis is extremely protective, and although he knew that this son of his was useless, he still doted on him. It was precisely because of this that Dongshan Jin had the title of the Chaotic Devil King. Right now, the people from the Eastern Mountain Manor should be arriving soon. If Brother Qin doesn't leave now, it would be too late. If the Eastern Mountain Marquis knows that Dongshan Jin has died, even if he knows who you are, he would still act to kill you. Qin Wentian frowned as he coldly asked, "You know who I am? Who told you that?" The Holy Maiden's country-toppling beauty. The moment I saw her, I knew that this matter was grave. Initially, I wanted to slip away, but I also wanted to see the ending. Who would have thought that Brother Qin would actually be able to sense my presence? Then how do you know who I am? Qin Wentian's voice was ice cold. It wasn't strange that he knew of Mo Qingcheng, but his reputation shouldn't be that great. Sensing Qin Wentian's killing intent, the young man's surname Chu's countenance turned ashen. From afar, a tyrannical aura gushed over. Evidently, the people of the Eastern Mountain Marquis had arrived. Qin Wentian furrowed his brows, while the young man's surname Chu was filled with despair. He lowered his voice and spoke to Qin Wentian. Ever since I saw the Holy Maiden, I knew that this matter had something to do with the Qi King Manor. The Eagle Marquis listens to the Qi King Manor, and there was a rumor circulating recently, saying that the Holy Maiden had a promiscuous lifestyle, and actually what? Qin Wentian's voice was filled with killing intent. The young man surnamed Chu closed his eyes in despair. Even if Qin Wentian didn't kill him, it would be hard for him to escape death today. Those bastards from the Eagle Marquis Manor actually didn't tell him beforehand that this matter was targeted at the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. As he thought of this, the hatred in his heart grew even more intense, and he even hated the Qi King Manor. This news must have been spread by the Qi King Manor, slandering the Holy Maiden. They spread the rumor that the Holy Maiden was nothing but a licentious woman, spending 3 days with a disciple of the Battle Sword sect, Qin Wentian, in his chambers. The young man surnamed Chu gritted his teeth as he spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wentian directly slammed his palm down as a towering rage gushed forth from him. His silhouette flickered as he returned to the side of Mo Qingcheng. Staring at her countenance, the killing intent in his heart soared to the heavens. Yi Kong Fan, I want you to die. Qin Wentian roared. He gently caressed Mo Qingcheng's face, only to see Mo Qingcheng smiling at him as she shook her head. Wentian, it's fine. It's enough that you know me. Qin Wentian felt even more pain in his heart when he saw the expression on Mo Qingcheng's face. Mo Qingcheng didn't care about the gossip of others because she had already treated herself as his wife. What else could others say? But he didn't expect Yi Kong Fan to be so despicable, using such rumors to slander others. He wanted to tarnish Mo Qingcheng's reputation, causing her to lose all standing in standing. Pulling Mo Qingcheng's hand, the two of them soared through the air. In front of them, a large number of experts were rushing over. Staring at Dongshan Jin's corpse, how could their killing intent not be terrifying? Glancing at Qin Wentian and Mo Qingcheng, they instantly guessed their identities. How lamentable was that trash Dongshan Jin, to think that he was so stupid to this extent, being used by others. But now, it was already too late for him to back down. The two of you, let's wait here for the Marquis to decide. The experts in front spoke, surrounding them. They didn't dare to act, but Dongshan Jin was already dead. If they let their enemy off, the Eastern Mountain Marquis would definitely kill them all. Hence, they could only leave Qin Wentian behind. Bzzz. The Scarlet Demon Halberd appeared in Qin Wentian's hands. His eyes gleamed with a terrifying coldness as he icily spoke, I'm Qin Wentian of the Battle Sword sect. The Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley is my first wife. The Qi King Manor slandered my wife's reputation and even borrowed a knife to kill me. If any of you dare to obstruct me, I will kill you all without mercy. After speaking, Qin Wentian's voice was like thunder, reverberating through a radius of tens of miles. He wanted everyone to know that Mo Qingcheng was his wife. This way, others would understand that these rumors were nothing but slander. Chapter 538. Qin Wentian's voice reverberated throughout the royal capital of Yi. Instantly, everyone knew of his identity. No wonder that maiden was so beautiful, she was actually the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. She was truly a beauty capable of toppling empires and empires. How could she be someone as beautiful as the rumors said? Not only that, Qin Wentian's words told everyone that Mo Qingcheng was his wife, causing them to believe in Qin Wentian even more. Most probably, this matter was slandered by the Qi King Manor. The hatred in this voice towered up into the sky. Since this young man could obtain the love of the holy maiden, he must also be deeply in love with her. How could he allow her to suffer such slander? As for the slander from the Qi King Manor, it was very easy to understand. Right now in the royal capital of Yi, who didn't know that the situation in the royal palace was extremely tense. The human emperor was on the verge of death, and the Qi king led his forces to seize the throne. The holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley came here to save the human emperor. However, this idiot Dongshan Jin was truly foolish. Becoming a chess piece meant death for him no matter what. Even if they really killed the lover of the holy maiden, the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor would surely be annihilated. It was rumored that this young man was a disciple of the Battle Sword sect. In front of the Battle Sword sect and the Medicine Sovereign Valley, how insignificant was the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. Qin Wentian brandished his ancient halberd and advanced side by side with Mo Qingcheng. Those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor stood in front of him, radiating killing intent as they roared, "Sir, we don't wish to offend you. Can you please wait for the Marquis's arrival before making a decision?" At this moment, those from the Eastern Mountain Manor were in a passive position. They didn't dare to directly kill Qin Wentian, but they also didn't dare to let him go. If the Eastern Mountain Marquis arrived and saw the death of his beloved son, he would definitely kill them. The Eastern Mountain Marquis was famous for being protective of his own people. If not, the Eastern Mountain Marquis wouldn't have chosen to make use of Dongshan Jin. "Those who obstruct me shall die." Qin Wentian's killing intent towered up into the skies as his terrifying bloodline frenziedly erupted forth. His entire person's aura was majestic, like a sovereign descending from the heavens. A supreme tyrannical might gushed forth, sweeping across the entire space as a terrifying demonic wind kicked up. At the same time, the heaven-punishing sword might gushed forth. So strong. Those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor felt their hearts trembling. How could he be so powerful? Qin Wentian only had a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, but now, his aura was actually at the 5th level and could even cause a 6th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign to tremble. How terrifying! In the center of Qin Wentian's brows, a third eye appeared, exuding an incomparably demonic aura. Everywhere it passed by, those below the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper felt as though their minds were about to explode. There were even some who screamed in agony. Boom! Qin Wentian soared through the air as his killing intent engulfed the heavens and earth. Even those who were extremely far away from him could clearly feel the towering killing intent radiating from him. Evidently, the Qi King Manor had angered him by slandering his beloved wife, the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Boom! Step by step, screams of agony rang out unceasingly. There were some whose throats were directly slit by the sword Qi, dying instantly. Everyone was shocked. The person in the lead only had a cultivation base at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. As for the others, none of them dared to say they would be able to deal with Qin Wentian. Bzzz, bzzz. Everyone knew that there was no way to resolve this matter peacefully. All of them released their astral novas. Qin Wentian released his demon sovereign astral soul, and in the air, rays of light cascaded downwards as terrifying demonic silhouettes appeared. He was like the lord of all demons. Rumbling sounds rang out as demonic beasts descended from the sky. All of them were at the peak of the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. Summoning an astral soul, how can the summoned demonic beasts be so powerful? The hearts of the crowd trembled. Qin Wentian spat out a single word, "Kill." As the sound of the word "kill" faded, the demonic beasts roared as the heavens and earth trembled violently. An incomparably gigantic golden primordial ape stomped down on an expert. That expert frantically tried to flee, but with a thunderous boom, that expert was trampled to death by the gigantic foot. The crimson blood thunderhawk transformed into a beam of blood-colored light, sweeping through the air. Fresh blood splattered as the head of an expert fell off, directly severed by the wings of the Crimson Blood Thunder Hawk. Do it. The 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign in the lead commanded the 3 6th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereigns beside him to act. The 3 of them advanced simultaneously, only to see Qin Wentian stepping out as sword chi gushed forth. Blasting out with his palms, a gigantic ancient bell materialized. The 3 experts who were rushing over only felt their hearts pounding violently as they groaned in agony. Qin Wentian blasted out with his left palm once more as a gigantic blood-colored palm imprint blasted out. One of the experts blocked with his palm, yet his palm imprint was directly corroded by the blood-colored palm imprint. After which, a beam of blood-colored light gushed into his body, directly transforming his arm into a pile of bones. Arg! Other 2 experts rushed to Qin Wentian's side only to see Qin Wentian's scarlet demon halberd sweeping out. The 2 of them felt as though they had fallen into a boundless hell. Within the blood-colored hell, there was only a terrifying blood-colored light as numerous demonic halberds slashed their way. Poochie, poochie, 2 sounds rang out one after another. In just an instant, the 3 6th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereigns had all died. At the same time, the summoned demonic beasts were also wreaking havoc, slaughtering the first wave of experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. How terrifying, as expected of a disciple of the Battle Sword sect. Their combat prowess is simply too terrifying. The spectators from afar felt their hearts pounding as they stared at the battle. Qin Wentian was simply too domineering. Those who dared to obstruct him, he killed them all without mercy. He continued walking forward. Although the expert in front of him was at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, the battle intent radiating from him was still extremely terrifying. The heart of the 7th level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign was also pounding violently. He had personally witnessed 3 of his subordinates being slaughtered. The person in front of him was akin to a devil. A gigantic axe appeared in his hands as a towering might gushed forth from him, capable of crushing everything. It was even heavier than a mountain. Boom! Stepping out, a resplendent light shone from the tip of his axe as his astral souls and astral novas erupted forth at the same time. Astral light shone on the axe, amplifying its might. Bzzz. With stellar transposition, Qin Wentian's silhouette vanished. The scarlet demon halberd instantly appeared in front of his opponent, slashing out with his halberd, causing the entire space to tremble. His opponent's perception was also extremely strong. That terrifying axe of his slashed out, causing a beam of axe light to appear in the air. The radiance of his axe shone as it slashed down, colliding directly with the scarlet demon halberd. Bang! The violent collision caused the entire space to tremble as a terrifying vortex of air currents appeared. The 2 of them could feel the towering might of their opponent's attack. Bzzz. Qin Wentian's great dream astral soul and astral nova appeared as the center of his brows glowed with a brilliant light, wanting to cause his opponent to fall into a dreamscape. His opponent's will was extremely resolute, and similarly, a vertical rune appeared in the center of his brows, resembling a golden axe that exuded a terrifying sharpness. A gigantic axe appeared in Qin Wentian's left hand as he directly chopped out. A beam of axe light shook the heavens. This seemingly ordinary strike contained a terrifying might within. His opponent's countenance drastically changed, and with an explosive roar, a golden palm imprint erupted forth, colliding head-on with the gigantic axe. Qin Wentian's countenance was incomparably resolute as his killing intent towered up into the sky. The king's sword slashed out, causing the entire space to tremble. The hearts of the spectators trembled unceasingly. They had personally witnessed Qin Wentian fighting against a terrifying 7th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign. Halberd after halberd slashed out with unstoppable might, and the might contained within each halberd strike caused the 7th-level Heavenly Dipper Sovereign to go all out. At the same time, Qin Wentian's astral nova wasn't any weaker compared to his opponent's. The 2 of them clashed violently, causing the entire space to tremble. With a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, Qin Wentian actually fought against a 7th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign. Although this 7th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign wasn't an outstanding genius and was merely a guard of the Marquis Manor, there was still a difference of 3 levels between them. Since you want to force me, just die then. That person was completely enraged after failing to defeat Qin Wentian despite attacking for a long time. The axe light in the center of his brows grew even brighter as an even more terrifying light enveloped his entire body. Both of his eyes were filled with a towering killing intent. Qin Wentian was as cold as ever, incomparably demonic. He stabbed out with his halberd again, forcing his opponent to defend. At the same time, he pointed out with his left finger, causing a towering blood-colored light to erupt forth, bringing with it an unparalleled might. The countenance of his opponent drastically changed, the golden axe in the center of his brows seemed to have flown out. However, a beam of blood-colored light flashed by and instantly, his body stiffened in the air. In the center of his brows, there was no longer a beam of golden axe light. Bzzz. A raging wind gusted by, that beam of blood-colored light actually transformed into a towering silhouette. It had a blood-colored body and a pair of blood-colored wings. This blood-colored figure exuded a terrifying heat, as well as a pitch-black luster. It was like a ferocious beast that just walked out from purgatory. Is that a vermilion bird? The hearts of the crowd trembled as they stared at that incomparably baleful demonic beast. Its ferocious might engulfed the heavens and earth, causing even the astral beasts to tremble in fear. Purgatory. Qin Wentian called out. Momentarily, the purgatory vermilion bird turned its head, staring at Qin Wentian as it inclined its head and let out a long screech. After which, its silhouette flickered as it actually circled around Qin Wentian, as though it was extremely excited. After which, it bent down in front of Qin Wentian, only to see Qin Wentian holding Imo Qingqing's hand as they stepped onto the back of the purgatory vermilion bird. Another long screech rang out, as the ferocious might it exuded towered up into the skies. Those summoned astral war beasts appeared on both sides of the purgatory vermilion bird. The spectators were all stunned by the scene before them. Those experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor had all died. They came here to kill Qin Wentian, yet all that was left behind were corpses. However, the handsome young man who seemed harmless was now like a descendant of a primordial demon king. He wielded a blood-colored halberd and stood on the back of the vermilion bird, advancing forward. The demonic beasts on both sides howled, all of them obeying his commands. This scene was too shocking. Everyone said that Yi Kong Fan from the Qi King Manor was a heaven's chosen, and even the Violet Thunder sect regarded him highly. But how could he compare to this young man? From afar, another terrifying aura gushed over. Most probably, the experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor had arrived. However, the countenance of the purgatory vermilion bird didn't change. His killing intent was as terrifying as ever, he would kill whoever obstructed him. Chapter 539. This time around, the experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor were even more terrifying. Their eyes gleamed with coldness as they stared at Qin Wentian and Imo Qingqing, their hearts filled with terror. The two of them were riding on the vermilion bird, accompanied by the demonic beasts around them. Such a scene was simply too shocking. Qin Wentian gripped the scarlet demon halberd in his hands tightly, exuding a demonic aura. He stared ahead as he coldly spoke, "Those who obstruct me shall die." Boom! Waves of towering might gushed forth, several experts in front of him unleashed their auras at the same time. A gigantic sword slashed out, blocking in front of Qin Wentian as a thunderous roar rang out, "Halt your steps, I won't kill you all. The Marquis Manor Lord will be arriving soon. Kill!" As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice faded, Purgatory let out a shrill cry as it rushed out. It spat out a beam of light as Purgatory flames swept outwards. A Purgatory lotus actually appeared in the air, wrapping around those experts and killing them. Arg! Screams of agony rang out. There were experts who died instantly, being incinerated into nothingness by the purgatory lotuses. How powerful! The crowd stared at the vermilion bird. The flames of the vermilion bird towered up into the sky. It was as though it could incinerate everything. The gigantic purgatory vermilion bird whizzed through the air, its wings flapping violently. Everything in its path was destroyed, and everything in its path was annihilated. Qin Wentian's countenance was as sharp as a blade, incomparably cold. The astral war beasts he summoned also soared out, ready to kill. Boom! Qin Wentian slowly stepped out, like a gust of wind, arriving before a sixth-level heavenly dipper sovereign as he slashed out with his scarlet demon halberd. In an instant, that expert stared at Qin Wentian as terror flickered in his eyes. His mind was in a state of chaos, and with a piercing sound, the scarlet demon halberd pierced through his head, killing him. Qin Wentian didn't pause, his silhouette flickered. Everywhere the scarlet demon halberd passed by, corpses piled up as experts died in Qin Wentian's hands one after another. Purgatory dealt with the strongest experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor, suppressing them completely. Everywhere the purgatory flames passed by, the experts all retreated. Impudent! From afar, a thunderous roar rang out as more and more experts from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor arrived. The Eastern Mountain Marquis was a marquis of a region. Other than that good-for-nothing son of his, Dongshan Jin, there was no need to doubt the strength of his power. The people of the royal sacred region were all extremely fervent in their pursuit of the martial path. The Yi country was extremely strict, and everything depended on one's strength to maintain it. If one didn't have enough strength, even if one was a descendant of the royal sacred region, they would still be banished, becoming someone without any power or influence. In the end, this world was one where strength was everything. Without strength, everything was just empty talk. Don't even think about power or fame. Even if you enjoyed the glory of your ancestors, you would still fall sooner or later. The Eastern Mountain Marquis was the nobility of the Yi country, his authority was naturally extremely powerful. Other than himself being a celestial phenomenon ascendant, there were also experts as common as the clouds in his manor. And just like at this moment, there were even more experts rushing over, including some at the 7th and 8th level of Heavenly Dipper. The moment these people arrived, they instantly surrounded the purgatory vermilion bird and Qin Wentian, as a stifling pressure bore down on them. If it wasn't for the fact that they were wary of Qin Wentian and Imo Qingqing's statuses, the corpses on the ground were already sufficient for them to directly kill Qin Wentian. Even if you are a disciple of the Battle Sword sect, you have to pay a price for killing so many people of my Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. One of them was the younger brother of the Eastern Mountain Marquis, and his cultivation base was at the peak of the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper. He was extremely tyrannical, and upon seeing so many experts of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dying, he was naturally infuriated. So many people ganging up on my junior brother. Do you think my Battle Sword sect has no experts? From afar, a voice boomed out, as sharp as a sword, causing the hearts of those who heard it to tremble. The experts of the Battle Sword sect had arrived. Although there weren't many people from the Battle Sword sect, only around 10 of them, the instant they appeared, they gave the experts of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor an immense pressure. Although the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor was very powerful, and was the nobility of Yi, when compared to the Battle Sword sect of the 9 great sects, they were on a completely different level. Even when facing against a single person like Qin Wentian, they were already in a dilemma. Now that so many disciples of the Battle Sword sect had arrived, how would the people of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dare to act recklessly? Although all of you are from the Battle Sword sect, the Royal Sacred Region has its own rules. The Battle Sword sect cannot bully others too far. This brat killed my nephew, and he even dared to kill a descendant of the Marquis Manor in the royal capital of my Yi country. Does the Battle Sword sect still want to stand up for him? The younger brother of the Eastern Mountain Marquis, Dongshan, exuded an extremely tyrannical aura. Duan Han stepped out, and an instant later, a sharp sword was unsheathed behind him. This sword was extremely thin, and exuded a bone-piercing coldness. The body of the sword was like water, and there was a hint of blackness to it, causing people to feel an intense sense of danger. I heard that the son of the Eastern Mountain Marquis dared to be disrespectful to the Holy Maiden. The Holy Maiden and my junior apprentice brother are lovers, what's the big deal about killing him? If anyone from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dares to interfere in this matter, I will take it as a crime of conniving with Dongshan Jin. The entire Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor will be implicated and killed without mercy. Duan Han wielded his sword as his black robes fluttered in the wind. An intense killing intent gushed forth from him, and a stifling sword might cause those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor to feel a terrifying pressure. They knew that this person was none other than Duan Han, the ninth personal disciple under Sword Sovereign Ling Tian. The weight of his words was extremely heavy, and the moment he spoke, it was no longer just condemning Dongshan Jin. Even if he killed Dongshan Jin, it would be a waste of his life. If anyone from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor interfered, they would be implicated. How brazen, as expected of someone from the Battle Sword Sect. Although the Battle Sword Sect has 9 great sects, the disciples of each mountain are extremely united. Out of the 9 great sects, the Battle Sword Sect has the least number of disciples, but the members of the Battle Sword Sect are all extremely protective. I've truly witnessed it today. The people in the surroundings sighed in their hearts. A single sentence from Duan Han had completely crushed the morale of the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. Dong Shanting's countenance turned ashen, yet at this moment, he only saw Qin Wentian's eyes flashing with an incomparable coldness. He continued walking forward, his killing intent gushing forth. The Purgatory Vermilion Bird stood protectively in front of him, and Mo Qingqing stood beside him. He actually wanted to walk past the people from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor, wanting to see who would dare to obstruct him. This is an important place in the Yi country, how can you be so brazen? After killing someone, you want to leave just like that? Even if the Battle Sword Sect were to blame you in the future, don't tell me that the Battle Sword Sect dares to humiliate our Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor. Dong Shanting roared. After which, he stretched out his palm, grabbing towards Qin Wentian. A gigantic palm imprint crushed the void, emitting terrifying rumbling sounds. Die! Duan Han spat out, his killing intent was terrifying. His silhouette flickered, moving like a gust of wind. After which, the sharpness of his black sword slashed out, slicing apart the void. A black line appeared in the air, slicing the void apart. Dong Shanting's countenance drastically changed. He only felt his vision turning dark as he couldn't see anything. He instantly retracted his palm, but it was already too late. The sound of splattering rang out as the sword slashed past soundlessly. One of Duan Han's arms was directly severed from his body. You dare! Dong Shanting roared in rage. Duan Han took a step forward as a patch of darkness appeared in the air. At the place where Duan Han was at, the sky seemed to have darkened. Dong Shanting was like a blind man, his eyes were clearly open, yet all he could see was darkness. An extremely dangerous gust of wind blew past, there was no sign of life at all. Dong Shanting's countenance turned pale. After which, the crowd only saw a line of blood appearing as Dong Shanting's head was separated from his body. A single slash. In other directions, battles erupted. But most of the gazes were focused on Duan Han's sword. That sword was too powerful, too sharp, too terrifying. Duan Han only slashed out twice. The first slash severed Dong Shanting's arm, while the second slashed off his head. Junior brother, let's go. Duan Han turned his gaze onto Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian nodded his head to Duan Han. The Purgatory Vermilion Bird continued to open up a path, and everywhere it passed, blood splattered. The experts of the Battle Sword Sect began their slaughter, their sword chi rampaging unstoppably, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble. The same thought appeared in their minds, the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor was finished. The people of the Battle Sword sect didn't care about reason at all, sweeping through everything in their path. Since those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor dared to act, they would kill them all without mercy. In the blink of an eye, the battlefield was cleaned up. The group of people from the Battle Sword sect all exuded killing intent. They already knew the cause and effect of this incident. Today, when they were touring the royal capital of Yi country, they had already heard many rumors regarding Qin Wentian and Imo Qingcheng. There were people slandering Imo Qingcheng. At that time, they were all thinking, if Qin Wentian knew about this, how would he endure it? This matter was definitely done by Yi Kongfan. In that case, their Battle Sword sect would definitely demand an explanation from Yi Kongfan. Even if this place was the Yi country, even if Yi Kongfan was a disciple of the Violet Thunder sect, if they didn't vent their anger, where would the face of the Battle Sword sect be? Staring at the towering killing intent from the experts of the Battle Sword sect, countless people felt their hearts trembling. They all followed behind the experts of the Battle Sword sect. They wanted to know what the ending would be. From afar, another towering might gushed over. This time around it was an incomparably terrifying might at the celestial phenomenon realm, simply terrifying to the extreme. In the air, a constellation could be seen. The Eastern Mountain Marquis has arrived. The hearts of the crowd trembled. However, the experts of the Battle Sword sect didn't stop, continuing forward. An umbrella appeared in Qin Wentian's hands. This umbrella emanated a fearsome lightning energy, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble in fear. This was none other than the 5th-rank divine weapon he obtained back in the Xian King city. It was originally in the possession of an expert from the Violet Thunder sect, but he managed to snatch it away. Duan Han's heart stirred. He clenched his fists tightly as his countenance turned incomparably cold. His killing intent was terrifying as he stared at the silhouettes in front of him. The Eastern Mountain Marquis personally led a group of experts here. My son! The Eastern Mountain Marquis roared in rage. His eyes were like ice as his killing intent engulfed the heavens and earth. Not only did you all kill my son, you even killed a member of my Marquis Manor. Since this is the case, even if I have to leave the Yi country and be hunted down by the Battle Sword sect, I will kill every single one of you. Go and repent for me. After the Eastern Mountain Marquis spoke, he dashed forward. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as the thunder umbrella in his hand blasted out, causing numerous bolts of destructive lightning to erupt forth. The Eastern Mountain Marquis howled in rage and slammed his palms downwards. Astral light cascaded down from the skies as a gigantic saber cleaved through the air, slamming into the destructive lightning. And at the same time, Duan Han coldly spoke, "Kill." As the sound of his voice faded, the heavens and earth turned pitch black. The disciples of the Battle Sword sect all stepped out at the same time, slashing out with their swords. Duan Han's palms blasted outwards as a beam of sword light flashed through the darkness, slashing apart the celestial phenomenon. The spectators only saw a beam of white light slashing down from the darkness, as well as the pale white countenance of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. Puchi. The light flashed as the darkness dissipated. The body of the Eastern Mountain Marquis was split into two. A celestial phenomenon ascendant Marquis was killed in an instant. Domineering, these people from the Battle Sword sect were simply too domineering. Chapter 540. The Eastern Mountain Marquis, the nobility of the Yi country, led his people over, his anger towering up into the sky. He didn't care about the price he had to pay to kill the disciples of the Battle Sword sect before departing. His cultivation base was at the celestial phenomenon realm, and one couldn't help but say that the person who made use of Dongshan Jin had already succeeded. They were certain that given the personality of the Eastern Mountain Marquis, he would definitely seek revenge. But who would have thought that the moment the Eastern Mountain Marquis arrived, he was instantly killed on the spot. Staring at the severed body, the hearts of everyone couldn't help but to tremble violently as their breathing quickened. The Battle Sword sect, one of the 9 great sects, how could their reputation be undeserved? When the Eastern Mountain Marquis appeared, Qin Wentian immediately used a terrifying attack-type divine weapon that could threaten even low-level ascendants. Although the Eastern Mountain Marquis managed to block it, he didn't manage to block the second strike. Duan Han's palm glowed with a brilliant light. It was impossible to tell what divine weapon it was. One could only tell that Duan Han's grasp of timing was extremely accurate. Just as the Eastern Mountain Marquis blocked the attack of Qin Wentian's divine weapon, darkness appeared. The members of the Battle Sword sect acted at the same time, disrupting the perception of the Eastern Mountain Marquis. Duan Han unleashed a sure-kill strike. The power contained within the darkness was even more terrifying compared to Qin Wentian's divine weapon, directly killing the Eastern Mountain Marquis. This Duan Han was the 9th personal disciple under Sword Sovereign Ling Tian. How could he not have any tyrannical methods? That beam of light earlier was definitely something Sword Sovereign Ling Tian left behind for him to deal with celestial phenomenon ascendants. This Duan Han's personality was also extremely ruthless and decisive. The instant the Eastern Mountain Marquis appeared, he killed him with no hesitation at all, giving the Eastern Mountain Marquis no time to unleash his full strength. Kill! Duan Han's silhouette didn't pause for a moment. He stepped out, his black robes fluttering in the wind. His pitch-black eyes caused the people from the Eastern Mountain Marquis manor to feel a sense of despair. Even the Eastern Mountain Marquis was killed in an instant. How could they stand against these disciples of the Battle Sword sect? Leaving aside the others, just Duan Han, who was at the peak of the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper, how could his combat prowess be compared to the 9th level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns? Not only that, other than Duan Han, the other disciples of the Battle Sword sect were all extremely powerful. There was even one at the 8th level of Heavenly Dipper, and quite a few at the 7th level. And indeed, Duan Han slaughtered his way into the crowd of people from the Eastern Mountain Marquis manor, killing one with each strike. His sword light was like a resplendent light in the dark night. Everyone finally understood why he was clad in black. The brilliance of his sword was unblockable. In just an instant, those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis manor were all massacred, causing the hearts of the spectators to tremble in fear. How decisive was this slaughter? Although everyone understood that since both sides clashed, one side would definitely die, the ruthlessness and decisiveness of the disciples of the Battle Sword sect still caused the hearts of the spectators to tremble. Most probably, this was the difference between the disciples of the great sects and ordinary people. If not, how would they be able to dominate an entire region, causing everyone in the world to revere them? Qin Wentian's countenance was like ice as he rode on the vermilion bird. The disciples of the Battle Sword sect followed behind him. Now that the Eastern Mountain Marquis had died, there was no one else who could obstruct Qin Wentian and the others. The group of them continued on their way towards the royal palace. In the Qi King manor, Yi Kongfan was infuriated after he received the news. His countenance was ice-cold as he stared at the people below. Such a complicated plan had actually failed. How did the people of the Battle Sword sect discover this so quickly? Didn't I tell you all to send people to watch over them? Yi Kongfan coldly spoke. When he learned that Qin Wentian and Imo Qingqing had left the royal palace alone, he immediately ordered his men to execute the plan, preparing to kill Qin Wentian. His subordinates also executed the plan well, finding the Eastern Mountain Marquis to bear the blame for this crime. The Eastern Mountain Marquis had always been impulsive, he wasn't afraid of anything. However, he doted on that mischievous Dongshan Jin. If Dongshan Jin died in the hands of Qin Wentian, he would spare no expense to kill Qin Wentian. As expected, Dongshan Jin died. Although Qin Wentian clearly knew that this was a plot, given his arrogant personality and how much he valued Imo Qingqing, he still killed Dongshan Jin. Everything was going according to plan, but they had still underestimated Qin Wentian's strength as well as those from the Battle Sword sect. Duan Han from the Battle Sword sect sensed that something was wrong. He immediately ignored the obstructions and directly went to search for Qin Wentian and Imo Qingqing. The people below lowered their heads as they reported. This Duan Han was calm and decisive. He was an extremely difficult character to deal with. They had done all they could to deal with him, yet he completely ignored them. Kong Fan, this Duan Han is the personal disciple of Sword Sovereign Ling Tian. There's no doubt that he's extraordinary. Not only that, he also has a trump card that can kill celestial phenomenon ascendants. This time around, we have underestimated our enemies. A person beside Yi Kongfan spoke. Yi Kongfan's countenance was extremely heavy, yet he nodded his head lightly, but it doesn't matter. Aren't they extremely angry and want to come to the Qi King Palace to settle the debt? Since this is the case, let's teach them a lesson. That's right. If they dare to come here, things would truly be interesting. The people beside him laughed. Yi Kongfan stared at the people below as he coldly commanded, immediately gather all the peak-level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns in the Qi King Palace. Since it's inconvenient for celestial phenomenon ascendants to participate, let's use our strongest strength to suppress them. Roger. The people below acknowledged and retreated. Yi Kongfan stood up and flicked his sleeves as he spoke, let's go, we will wait for them outside. In the human emperor's chamber, the human emperor was lying on his bed with the empress and royal concubine by his side. At this moment, the resting human emperor suddenly opened his eyes as a cold light flickered within. After which, the human emperor stared at the empress and spoke, help me summon Shi Xian here. Tell Lingshuang to come as well. The eyes of the empress flickered as she stared at the human emperor. The human emperor nodded to her as she obeyed his orders and left. Not too long after, a young man exuding a baleful aura and Yi Lingshuang appeared together in the human emperor's chamber. Human emperor. Shi Xian bowed to the human emperor. Summon the Heavenly Dipper camp of the Iron Blood camp and the Divine Arrow camp of the Heavenly Dipper camp. At the same time, pass the command talismans of the two camps to Lingshuang. The human emperor spoke to Shi Xian. Shi Xian's eyes flashed with sharpness, but he didn't hesitate as he bowed to the human emperor, Roger. After speaking, he took out two command talismans. One of them had an image of a divine arrow engraved on it, while the other had a blood-colored image. Princess Lingshuang. Shi Xian passed the command talismans to Yi Lingshuang. Yi Lingshuang glanced at the human emperor and upon seeing him nodding to her, she accepted the command talismans. Her heart was filled with bewilderment, she had never heard of the Iron Blood camp and Divine Arrow camp before. Most probably, these two were the direct subordinates of her royal father and should be extraordinary. Your subordinate will go now. Shi Xian spoke to the human emperor, only to hear the human emperor instructing him again, you will lead the dragon elephant army and provide support from the shadows. Don't reveal yourself. Roger. Shi Xian nodded as he retreated. Human emperor. The empress had a look of worry on her face as she stared at the human emperor. She knew who Shi Xian was and also knew what the dragon elephant army represented. Did the human emperor intend to expose them? Don't worry, the Qi King no longer has any respect for the emperor. Since this is the case, I really want to see how much strength he has exactly. The human emperor's eyes flashed with sharpness as he stared at Yi Lingshuang. Wentian was assassinated by Yi Kongfan, and Yi Kongfan spread rumors to slander Qingqing's reputation. Right now, Wentian is heading to the royal palace with the members of the Battle Sword sect, and will definitely head to the Qi King Palace. At that time, Yi Kongfan will order his men to deal a heavy blow to the members of the Battle Sword sect. You will lead the troops from the two camps and pass down the human emperor's decree. The crown prince of the Qi King, Yi Kongfan, is suspected of slandering the reputation of the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley and wanted to harm my foster son. If the Qi King resists, they will be treated as traitors. The countenances of the Empress and Yi Lingshuang drastically changed. Right now, the Qi King already controlled a lot of power. The only reason why he didn't seize the throne was because the human emperor was still alive. After all, the human emperor's combat prowess was heaven-defying, invincible in Yi. The Qi King wasn't willing to take the risk until he died from the poison. He would rather wait. But now that the human emperor took the initiative to attack, the entire Yi country would be in chaos, forcing the Qi King to rebel. Royal Father. Yi Lingshuang turned pale with fright as she called out. Lingshuang, just do as I say. If the Qi King rebelled, he would definitely be able to affect everyone else. We would be able to see clearly how many people would rebel. The human emperor calmly spoke. If the Qi King directly attacks us, how should we deal with it? Yi Lingshuang asked. Don't worry, he wouldn't dare to. The human emperor seemed to be extremely clear about everything, as though he had regained his former glory. Upon seeing the expression on the human emperor's face, the empress couldn't help but feel her heart trembling. After which, she added, Lingshuang, just do as your royal father says. Lingshuang, Shi Xian will handle the unnecessary matters. You don't have to worry. What you need to do is to help Wentian, and let Yi Kongfan see his true self clearly. I also want to know how Wentian will kill Yi Kongfan. A sharp glint flashed in Ren Huang's eyes. It was as if he had regained the peerless elegance of the past. Outside the human emperor palace, experts gathered as killing intent towered up into the heavens. The hearts of everyone were pounding violently. Those from the human emperor's faction were all worried for the human emperor, while those from the Qi King's faction were all laughing coldly in their hearts. Was the human emperor finally at his limit? How could it be so easy for him to fight to the death? As they thought of this, sinister smiles appeared on their faces. Most probably, the human emperor's reign was already over, and the Yi country was about to change. The Qi King palace exuded boundless majesty and was heavily guarded. Outside the palace, there was a golden-colored pathway that led to the Qi King palace. At this moment, a group of silhouettes appeared in the air, their auras towering up into the heavens, exuding a bone-chilling killing intent. Who dares to barge into the Qi King palace? A cold voice drifted over from the walls of the palace. Duan Han, clad in black, walked out as he coldly snorted, Yi Kongfan from the Violet Thunder sect, since you dared to do such a despicable thing, scram the hell out. Scram the hell out, scram the hell out. His voice reverberated through the air, echoing throughout the Qi King palace, causing the countenances of many in the Qi King palace to drastically change. There was actually someone so audacious, daring to challenge the prestige of the crown prince. Yi Kongfan stood at the top of a flight of stairs within the palace, staring into the horizons. How could he go out? If he didn't accuse Duan Han of barging into the Qi King palace, how could he deal with the disciples of the Battle Sword sect? This isn't a place you can come to. Scram! Yi Kongfan roared, his voice reverberating through the air, actually clashing with Duan Han's voice. Duan Han's black eyes flickered with a cold light. How could he not know what Yi Kongfan was thinking? He slowly stepped out as he commanded, kill your way in. Hold on. A voice drifted over from afar. Duan Han and the rest turned their gazes over, only to see Yi Lingshuang exuding a towering baleful aura. She was clad in armor, exuding a heroic aura as she arrived outside the Qi King manor not long after. Yi Lingshuang stood in the air as she roared in rage, the crown prince of the Qi King, Yi Kongfan, spread rumors and slandered the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. He even plotted to kill those from the Eastern Mountain Manor, wanting to harm the foster son of the human emperor, Qin Wentian. Right now, the human emperor has issued an order to capture Yi Kongfan. Chapter 541. At this moment, Yi Lingshuang was clad in armor, exuding a valiant aura. Her voice reverberated through the air, causing everyone in the Qi King manor to tremble. The human emperor actually gave the order to capture Yi Kongfan. Those who resisted would be treated as traitors. Has the human emperor gone mad? He wants to force the Qi King manor to rebel before his death. A thought flashed in the minds of those from the Qi King manor. This was the only explanation for Yi Lingshuang's actions. If not, the human emperor's life was already at stake, and more than half of the royal palace was under the control of the Qi King Manor, yet he still dared to issue the order to capture Yi Kongfan. As they thought of this, the countenances of those from the Qi King Manor changed. The strength of the human emperor caused them to feel trepidation in their hearts. If he wanted to fight even at the risk of his life, it would truly be terrifying. They couldn't help but to be cautious. Yi Kongfan's countenance also turned incredibly unsightly to behold. Initially, he was waiting here for those from the battle sword sect to come and provoke them. At that time, he would have an excuse to deal with them. But he didn't expect that the human emperor would actually give the command for Yi Lingshuang to bring experts over to interrogate them. Since this was the case, the Qi King Manor was in a disadvantageous position. As the sound of Yi Lingshuang's voice faded, she had already joined up with those from the battle sword sect. Behind her, there were experts from two camps that radiated baleful auras. They were none other than the Divine Arrow camp and the Iron Blood camp. Qin Wentian stood on the vermilion bird as he stared at Yi Lingshuang. There was a hint of worry in his heart. The injuries of the human emperor had yet to fully recover. If such an action forced the Qi King to rebel, it would be extremely disadvantageous to the human emperor. However, he didn't think too much about it. Since the human emperor gave such an order, he must have already made a decision in his heart. A group of people rushed into the Qi King Manor, blocked by many silhouettes. Yi Lingshuang waved her hands and instantly, the experts from the Divine Arrow camp all took out their bows. The resplendent light from the arrows flooded the skies, exuding a terrifying sharpness. Those who dare to obstruct us shall be treated as traitors and shall be killed without mercy. Yi Lingshuang coldly spoke. The group of them rushed into the Qi King Manor as the auras of the experts from the Qi King Manor erupted forth. They all knew that the Qi King already controlled more than half of the royal palace. How could they allow others to barge into the Qi King Manor so easily? Wouldn't that be a great humiliation? Kill! Yi Lingshuang commanded when she saw that there were people obstructing her. In an instant, over 100 arrows shot through the air, interweaving into a net that blotted out the skies, sealing off all directions. Not only that, these were all insta-kill arrows. Yi Lingshuang's eyes widened. Pu, pu, pu. Light sounds rang out continuously. Wherever the arrows passed, blood would splatter. The people of the King of Qi were all shocked. The strength of these divine archers was extremely frightening. The power of the instant-kill arrows was boundless, piercing through everything. Wherever the arrows passed, everyone was submerged and killed. Impudent! A thunderous roar rang out as an old man appeared within the Qi King Manor. He stepped through the air and with a thunderous roar, the power of his roar causing the blood and qi of the crowd to churn. You dare barge into my Qi Manor? Another old man appeared. He was dressed in luxurious robes and exuded an imposing aura. His long beard fluttered in the wind. They were all experts of the older generation of the King of Qi's manor, possessing esteemed statuses. However, at this moment, a few majestic auras gushed over from afar. The color of the sky changed as astral light cascaded downwards. Faintly, a few silhouettes could be seen standing within the astral light, completely obscuring the view of the Qi King Manor. One of them was none other than Shi Xian. His entire body radiated an intense coldness as he stared at the silhouettes that appeared. He icily stated, "We are here on the orders of the human emperor to capture Yi Kongfan. This has nothing to do with the Qi King Manor. If you all still wish to protect Yi Kongfan, you shall be treated as having no respect for the human emperor and betraying the Lord. Don't blame me for being impolite then. You dare to speak to this old man in such a manner?" An old man inclined his head, staring at Shi Xian in the air as his countenance turned extremely cold. Those who don't obey the human emperor's orders shall be killed without mercy. I believe that the Qi King Manor isn't filled with traitors. Shi Xian coldly spoke, his aura was as tyrannical as ever. From afar, more and more experts rushed towards the Qi King Manor. Most probably, they all knew of the human emperor's orders. Among these people, there was no lack of nobility characters, and all of them were extremely powerful. Has the human emperor gone senile? He actually gave the order to barge into the Qi King Manor. A nobility character roared in rage, the constellations in the air were all shattered by his roar. Shi Xian's countenance didn't change as he extended his perception outwards. He discovered that at this moment, the experts he led were already surrounded. These people who surrounded him were all nobility characters, yet they didn't move at all. Most probably, as long as the Qi King gave the order, they would immediately act, directly breaking into the royal palace. Such a scene was something Qin Wentian didn't expect. Yi Kongfan had slandered Mo Qingqing's reputation, and his words were filled with humiliation. Qin Wentian had to kill this man no matter what. When those from the Battle Sword sect came to the Qi King Manor, they naturally didn't think of killing Yi Kongfan within the Qi King Manor. This was something impossible. But who would have thought that after the human emperor learned of this, he would actually join in, causing a huge uproar in the royal clan of Yi. Yi Lingshuang led the 2 battalions and continued killing their way in. No one could obstruct them. The guards of the Qi King Manor all rushed over, yet the celestial phenomenon ascendants didn't act at all. They hadn't received the Qi King's orders yet. If the celestial phenomenon ascendants acted to attack Yi Lingshuang's subordinates, this storm would definitely escalate into a decisive battle. Yi Kongfan and those from the Violet Thunder sect soared up into the air, staring at Qin Wentian and the others who were killing their way over. His eyes were ice cold, his killing intent towered up into the skies. Initially, he thought that even if he didn't kill Qin Wentian, he would still be able to trap Qin Wentian. But who would have thought that the human emperor would interfere, causing the Qi King Manor to suffer such heavy losses? Yi Kongfan, do you know your crime? Yi Lingshuang stared ahead as she coldly spoke. What a joke! What crime have I committed? Yi Kongfan's countenance turned sinister, his killing intent surging forth. As a member of the royal clan, a disciple of the Violet Thunder sect, how could you be so despicable? Spreading rumors and slandering the reputation of the Holy Maiden. You even ordered people to incite those from the Eastern Mountain Marquis Manor to kill my foster brother, Qin Wentian. Such a despicable character, yet you still have the title of a genius from the Violet Thunder sect. The face of our royal clan has been thrown away by you, yet you still don't know your crime. Yi Lingshuang's voice was ice cold, every word she spoke was ear-piercing, causing Yi Kongfan to want nothing more than to kill her on the spot. If you wish to incriminate someone, you can always find a pretext. What can I say if Princess wishes to slander me? Yi Kongfan flatly denied. There was naturally no way he would admit to this matter in front of everyone. Is that so? Since this is the case, follow me back to investigate this matter. If this matter has nothing to do with you, I will bow and apologize to you. My royal father will also feel guilty. Yi Lingshuang's voice was ice cold. After which, the group of them continued forward. Ridiculous to the extreme. I, Yi Kongfan, have never done such a thing. Why should I follow you? Yi Kongfan coldly spoke. However, Yi Lingshuang and the others didn't even bother to reply. Just when they were about to press forward, a few silhouettes soared up into the air, enveloped in lightning and thunder, exuding an incomparably imposing aura. Little doll, although you are the princess of Yi, Yi Kongfan is a disciple of my Violet Thunder sect. How can you bring him away just like that? Where would the face of my Violet Thunder sect be? The person who appeared stared at Yi Lingshuang as he spoke. Momentarily, Yi Lingshuang coldly laughed in her heart. As expected, the people from the Violet Thunder sect had also participated in the seizing of the throne. Since Senior is someone from the Violet Thunder sect, you shouldn't interfere in the matters of my royal clan. Yi Lingshuang stared at the ascendant as she faintly spoke. The human emperor wants to bully others, using groundless crimes to capture a disciple of my Violet Thunder sect. How can I not interfere in this matter? The old man coldly laughed as his aura grew stronger. A lightning constellation appeared in the air as violet lightning flashed downwards. No wonder the Qi King didn't come out. So it turns out that there are people from the Violet Thunder sect here. Duan Han's pitch-black eyes gleamed with coldness. After which, he turned to Qin Wentian, junior brother Qin, how do you propose we settle this matter? Only then did the gazes of the crowd shift onto Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian stared fixedly at Yi Kongfan, his eyes flashing with contempt. Yi Kongfan, as a genius of the Violet Thunder sect, you actually dared to commit such despicable acts, yet you don't dare to admit it. How pathetic. Qin Wentian's tone was extremely indifferent, filled with disdain. His words caused Yi Kongfan to clench his fists tightly as his killing intent flared up. I heard that you, Yi Kongfan, possess a tribulation lightning bloodline and a heavenly lightning physique. You're also known as the Heavens Chosen of the Violet Thunder sect. Qin Wentian stared ahead as he slowly spoke. Within the royal palace, there's a royal battle platform. This platform is the place for descendants of the royal clan to compete against each other, and it has the ability to suppress the cultivation bases of stellar martial cultivators. I'm inviting you, Yi Kongfan, to head to the royal battle platform for a battle. Do you dare to accept? Yi Kongfan's eyes narrowed as an intense coldness flickered within. How could he not know about the royal battle platform? This platform was able to suppress stellar martial cultivators to the same cultivation base, allowing them to fight under the same conditions. The true test was the combat prowess of both parties. Because of the difference in age, the cultivation bases of the descendants of the royal clan were different. This battle platform would allow one to see their potential and combat prowess. Who would have thought that Qin Wentian would actually know of this and invite him, Yi Kongfan, for a battle? That day in the royal battle platform, he had personally witnessed Qin Wentian's combat prowess. He could even slay a peak 6th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign. Staring at the eyes of Qin Wentian, a sense of trepidation appeared in Yi Kongfan's heart. He didn't dare to accept the challenge. You don't dare. Qin Wentian abruptly snorted, the mocking smile on his face grew even denser. A genius from the Violet Thunder sect. A heavens chosen from the Qi King manor. Coward. As the sound of his voice faded, a cracking sound rang out. Yi Kongfan clenched his fists tightly as his aura gushed forth, wanting to accept Qin Wentian's challenge. However, the old man from the Violet Thunder sect interjected, how ridiculous, there are strong and weak stellar martial cultivators. Who would dare to suppress their cultivation bases to battle with you? Qin Wentian stared at the old man as he coldly replied, Qin, have just joined the Battle Sword sect not too long ago. I've heard that the Violet Thunder sect and the Battle Sword sect are equally famous, but back then in the battle at the Xian King Manor, as well as in the earlier battles in the Royal Battle Platform, the disciples of the Violet Thunder sect couldn't even withstand a single strike. A bunch of trash. Naturally, maybe the people Qin Wentian, would be the weakest disciples in the Violet Thunder sect. I wonder if there's anyone among the disciples of the Violet Thunder sect who dares to challenge me on the Royal Battle Platform. If these people are not up to par, Senior can always head to the Violet Thunder sect to recruit more. As the sound of Qin Wentian's voice rang out, he wasn't merely insulting Yi Kongfan alone, he was insulting the entire Violet Thunder sect as well. The experts from the Violet Thunder sect were infuriated when they heard this. Bolts of lightning flashed in the air, directly blasting towards Qin Wentian, terrifying to the extreme. Senior, there's no need to threaten me like this. I'm merely a nameless character who just joined the Battle Sword sect. I will be staying in the royal palace for a month, and during this month, Qin, will spread the news that I'm willing to challenge any Heavenly Dipper sovereigns of the Violet Thunder sect, including Yi Kongfan. Naturally, if a month later, Yi Kongfan still doesn't even have the guts to accept my challenge, there's no need for me to say anything more. The people of the royal sacred region will naturally know how laughable the Violet Thunder sect is. The sarcasm in Qin Wentian's eyes was extremely thick. After which, he turned and departed. There are too many experts in the Qi King manor. Qin, don't have the ability to kill a despicable and useless character like Yi Kongfan. If you have the slightest bit of courage and guts, please accept my challenge within a month. If you are truly so useless, I won't say anything. I will directly challenge you with my current cultivation base. There's no need for you to suppress your cultivation base. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wentian walked further and further away. The injuries of the human emperor had yet to fully recover. He wanted to humiliate the Violet Thunder sect and Yi Kongfan by setting a time limit of a month because he didn't want the human emperor to fight against the Qi King now. A month later, the human emperor's injuries would fully recover, and at that time, it would be the doomsday of the Qi King. Chapter 542. Yi Kongfan's fists glowed with the power of lightning. Earlier, he was about to accept Qin Wentian's challenge when the old man from the Violet Thunder sect interrupted him. Could it be that the old man from the Violet Thunder sect also felt that he, Yi Kongfan, wouldn't be able to defeat Qin Wentian at the same level of cultivation? Before this, he felt that he was a chosen from the Violet Thunder sect and had never considered this problem. But now that Qin Wentian came to challenge him, killing his way into the Qi King manor, he discovered another side of himself. When facing against Qin Wentian, he actually cowered in fear. Staring at the departing back view of Qin Wentian, Yi Kongfan couldn't help but feel a sense of carefreeness. Saying that he would challenge any Heavenly Dipper sovereigns from the Violet Thunder sect, wasn't this simply a provocation to Yi Kongfan? Coward. Another voice rang out. Yi Lingshuang stared at Yi Kongfan with disdain. You claim to be a chosen from the Violet Thunder sect, a genius from the Qi King manor, yet you don't even dare to participate in a royal battle. You even dare to admit to your despicable deeds. The face of the royal clan of our Yi country has been thrown away by you. What a shame. After speaking, Yi Lingshuang waved her hands as she led her subordinates away. Yet in her heart, she was silently praising her royal father for his intelligence. The Qi King didn't want to start a war or he would have already shown himself. In truth, everyone, including Qin Wentian, understood the situation today. The Qi King didn't want to gamble on the human emperor's life on the line. He would rather endure this humiliation and wait. If not, with a single command from the Qi King, the members of his faction would immediately charge into the royal palace, killing the human emperor and usurping the throne. However, the Qi King didn't, he didn't even show himself. When he saw Yi Lingshuang and Shi Xian leading their experts over, everyone would think that the human emperor wanted to force the Qi King to fight him head-on, wanting to retaliate before his death. Evidently, the Qi King didn't want to risk his life against the human emperor, hence he chose to endure. From another perspective, the Qi King could be considered a ruthless character. If it was someone who didn't have the patience to endure, they would have already started the slaughter. However, Qin Wentian understood in his heart that the human emperor was still a notch higher. Today, he ordered Yi Lingshuang and Shi Xian to lead their experts to aid him. Wasn't this a method of loosening the reins only to grasp the reins better? He had long expected that the Qi King would be afraid of a life-and-death battle, hence he didn't accept the challenge. At the same time, he could also give everyone a false impression that the human emperor was on the verge of death and wanted to end the battle as soon as possible. Not too long after, the crowd retreated like the receding tides. The constellation in the sky vanished, and the stifling pressure gradually dissipated as the Qi King manor fell into a state of silence. Yi Kongfan's countenance was extremely gloomy, his heart still hadn't calmed down. It was as though he was provoked by the words of Qin Wentian and Yi Lingshuang. He, Yi Kongfan, was someone extraordinary, yet he didn't dare to accept the royal clan's challenge. If this matter were to spread out, how would he still have the face to call himself a heaven's chosen? Kongfan, everyone has their own circumstances. You are a heaven's chosen of my Violet Thunder sect, why are you doubting yourself because of a single sentence from him? That brat challenged you in anger, wanting you to suppress your cultivation base because he is inferior to you. Hence, he intentionally used such a method to infuriate you so that you would accept his challenge. However, you clearly had victory in your grasp, and killing him would be as easy as flipping your palms. Why did you accept the challenge and allow him to succeed? In the air, the old man from the Violet Thunder sect continued, based on your strength, a month from now, you can insta-kill him in front of all the Heavenly Dipper sovereigns. Sever his head and all doubts will vanish like smoke. A dead man, what's there to be proud of? Yi Kongfan's countenance stiffened. He stared at the old man from the Violet Thunder sect as he nodded his head. A month from now, that would be the date of his death. It's just that within this month, he challenged all the Heavenly Dipper sovereigns of my Violet Thunder sect. If none of us accepted his challenge, wouldn't our Violet Thunder sect lose face? Does the Violet Thunder sect need to care about the provocation of a junior? What qualifications does he have to provoke our Violet Thunder sect? If that's the case, wouldn't our Violet Thunder sect be lowering our status by accepting the challenge? The old man coldly snorted. Yi Kongfan remained silent, he didn't say anything more. Although the words of the old man were logical, but for such an arrogant challenge, if they could kill him, why wouldn't the Violet Thunder sect do so as well? Most probably, after this ascendant from the Violet Thunder sect witnessed Qin Wentian's combat prowess in the battle arena, he didn't have much confidence in the disciples of the Violet Thunder sect. He felt that it would be extremely difficult to win against Qin Wentian at the same level unless they sent out that supreme genius whose name shook the entire royal sacred region. Such a character would be the symbol of an era, they would be contending for the hegemony of an era. 3 days later, the news of Qin Wentian challenging Yi Kongfan to a battle spread throughout the vast ancient country. Everyone in Yi knew about this, and this was naturally because there were people who added fuel to the fire. After all, those from the human emperor's bloodline were extremely powerful, it was extremely easy for them to spread this news. In fact, there were even rumors that the human emperor sent people to protect Qin Wentian from the Battle Sword sect as he slaughtered his way into the Qi King Manor. Qin Wentian challenged Yi Kongfan on the battle platform, but Yi Kongfan didn't dare to accept the challenge. After that, Qin Wentian arrogantly invited any Heavenly Dipper sovereigns from the Violet Thunder sect, yet the Violet Thunder sect still didn't respond. This news caused countless people to be in an uproar. All of them wanted to know who Qin Wentian was exactly. How could he be so arrogant, forcing the Violet Thunder sect to not dare to accept the challenge, causing them to lose all face? Many people started to investigate everything regarding Qin Wentian, and more news about Xian King City was dug out. So it turned out that the first time Qin Wentian appeared was in Xian King City of Grand Shang. In that battle, he killed many geniuses and was forcefully brought away by the Battle Sword sect. Now, he followed the disciples of the Battle Sword sect to Yi and was adopted by the human emperor as his godson. Not only that, the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley was actually a couple with him. Not only that, it was rumored that the reason why Qin Wentian challenged Yi Kongfan was because Yi Kongfan had spread rumors about the Holy Maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. Qin Wentian angrily barged into the Qi King Manor, stating that if Yi Kongfan was cowardly and didn't dare to suppress his cultivation base for a battle, he wouldn't need Yi Kongfan to suppress his cultivation base and directly challenge him. Qin Wentian's cultivation base was at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper, and he also had a tyrannical bloodline. However, Yi Kongfan was at the 7th level, and he also had a terrifying Calamity Lightning bloodline. His attacks were incomparably tyrannical. Wasn't this simply courting death? Although the spectators admired Qin Wentian's courage, wasn't this a little too irrational? But no matter what, after this news circulated, the prestige of the Battle Sword sect soared even higher. As for the Violet Thunder sect, they felt as though they had lost all face. Could it be that no one in the Violet Thunder sect was capable of killing Qin Wentian at the same level? Even if Yi Kongfan didn't suppress his cultivation base and killed Qin Wentian, it wasn't something worth bragging about. The Violet Thunder sect had already lost. During these few days, Qin Wentian was in closed-door seclusion, ignoring the external affairs. Although he had issued a challenge, he knew how powerful Yi Kongfan was. Naturally, he hoped to raise his cultivation base within a month. The star-gathering platform was a cultivation ground for human emperors. And now, Qin Wentian was actually sitting on it, cultivating. There were 9 gigantic stone pillars surrounding the star-gathering platform. These stone pillars were actually carved from natural Yuan meteor stones, and the amount of astral energy contained within them could only be described as terrifying. On top of the star-gathering platform, there was a formation inscribed on it, with a beautiful diagram that could gather the astral energy within the 9 stone pillars. Qin Wentian sat on top of the diagram, as though he was bathed in boundless astral light. Qin Wentian quietly cultivated, releasing his 4 astral souls at the same time, frenziedly absorbing the astral energy in the surroundings. Opening his palms, he tossed a medicinal pill into his mouth. This medicinal pill was none other than the star-gathering pill. It could increase his affinity with the astral energy within a short period of time, allowing him to absorb astral energy at a faster rate. Before he entered closed-door seclusion, Mo Qingqing had given him quite a number of medicinal pills, all of which had no side effects. For example, the astral gathering pill, the body augmentation pill, the blood ignition pill. All of these pills would allow him to cultivate more efficiently, further stimulating the potential of his bloodline. After swallowing the medicinal pill, Qin Wentian didn't stop. He swallowed the great earth fruit as well as the other 2 constellation fruits in his storage ring. These 2 constellation fruits that could cause one's heart to tremble were given to Mo Qingqing. After digesting the great earth fruit, he started to consume the constellation fruits that contained the great earth energy. Momentarily, many changes occurred within his body, and his perception of the density and pulsation of the earth grew even stronger. Such a feeling, even Di Tian, who was far away in the royal tomb of Grand Xia, could feel it. After all, they were originally inseparable, and shared the same perception and comprehension. In the royal tomb of Grand Xia, Di Tian stood there. At this moment, his aura was calm and tranquil, and he wielded an ancient halberd in his hands as he unceasingly executed halberd strikes, attempting to increase the power of his halberd attacks. Ever since Qin Wentian entered the battle sword sect, Di Tian had already started on his path of comprehension. Qin Wentian knew that his current level of comprehension had stopped at the first 7 sword strikes. Although he could comprehend the 8th to the 14th sword strike, he hadn't reached that level yet. If he could step into that level, his attacks would surely be many times stronger than before. One halberd strike after another, soundless and silent. But when the halberds landed, the space around them trembled as a terrifying shockwave rippled outwards, wanting to shatter the void. This was spatial rend. His attacks already contained a terrifying lacerating energy within them, allowing him to instantly tear his opponent apart. In truth, he was using the 2nd level insight of his mandate of force, the void shockwave. If he could further augment it with his mandate of demons, the might of his attacks would be even stronger. However, this was only the most basic level of augmentation. It still wasn't at the level of comprehending the 8th to the 14th sword strike. After which, Qin Wentian continued to stab out with his halberd, executing the mountain splitter stance, fallen star stance, and void rend stance respectively. However, the power of his attacks was incomparable to before. He tried again and again, evolving again and again. Qin Wentian always wanted to achieve the best, the strongest. In the blink of an eye, several days passed. Qin Wentian was still cultivating on the star-gathering platform, gathering astral energy from the constellations of heaven and earth. Di Tian, on the other hand, was still in the royal tomb, comprehending insights and improving bit by bit. In the royal palace of Yi, the atmosphere grew more and more tense. However, there was still no one from the Violet Thunder sect who accepted the challenge. It was as the old man from the Violet Thunder sect had said, after Yi Kongfan killed Qin Wentian, all voices would be suppressed. If they accepted the challenge and lost, it would be even more shameful for them. In the blink of an eye, over 20 days passed. Within Qin Wentian's body, the astral energy from the constellations of the Violet Thunder sect was crazily seething, akin to gigantic tidal waves that towered up to the skies. Within the royal tomb, Di Tian sat on the ground as a look of contemplation flashed in his eyes. He still had no way to achieve this. Such a creative attack was simply too difficult. Chapter 543. In the royal palace of Yi, on the star-gathering platform, the rumbling sounds from Qin Wentian's body persisted for a total of 3 days. The astral light from his astral souls grew increasingly dazzling, and his 4 astral novas were all released, emitting a humming sound. Today, a crisp sound rang out, as though something had just broken out of a shell. The 4 Yuanfu in Qin Wentian's body grew even larger, as astral light gleamed within. Within his sword-type Yuanfu, sword qi howled and howled, as though it wanted to pierce through the clouds. A beam of light pierced through. It was none other than a king's sword. Qin Wentian's astral novas had returned to his Yuanfu, guarding it as he continued to refine his astral novas. At the same time, the other 3 Yuanfu also did the same. The astral light from Qin Wentian's astral novas was completely absorbed into his body. When he opened his eyes, a resplendent light erupted forth, so dazzling that it felt as though it could pierce through the eyes of those who looked at it. However, an instant later, the sharpness of the astral novas was completely retracted. Qin Wentian had a smile on his face, giving off the feeling of a spring breeze, exuding an aura of tranquility and elegance. Such a change in aura happened with a single thought from him. Sometimes, it was as sharp as a sword being unsheathed, and sometimes, it was as calm as the surface of a lake. His cultivation base had clearly increased by a level, and he had already stepped into the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. Now that he activated the power of his bloodline, his aura was already comparable to the 6th level of Heavenly Dipper, and he even had the strength to threaten Yi Kongfan. However, he also knew that Yi Kongfan wasn't an ordinary character. Yi Kongfan had the title of Heaven's Chosen from the Violet Thunder sect, and he had the Tribulation Lightning bloodline as well as the Heavenly Lightning physique. His reputation wasn't undeserved, and even Qin Wentian didn't dare to be careless. Qin Wentian closed his eyes and continued to consolidate his foundation. In the royal tomb of Grand Xia, Di Tian practiced his halberd every single day. Although this seemed extremely dull, Di Tian didn't feel impatient at all. Cultivation wasn't something that could be accomplished in a single day, it was already extremely dry and dull. This was especially so when it came to comprehending insights. Not only that, his innate desire to pursue the martial Tao was extremely strong. Every improvement he made would cause him to feel excited and his blood to boil. From his understanding, there were 2 types of comprehension. The first was instant enlightenment, a flash of inspiration appearing, instantly comprehending and transforming. Such a situation could only be encountered by chance and not sought, and was extremely rare. The second type was to depend on one's own hard work and perseverance. Eventually, constant dripping of water would penetrate the stone, resulting in a transformation, and from there, gaining enlightenment. No matter how high one's talent was, stellar martial cultivators still couldn't do without perseverance and perseverance. Moreover, Qin Wentian believed that even if it was an epiphany, you might encounter an epiphany only if you had enough accumulation. In the blink of an eye, there were only 3 days left to the 1-month deadline. Di Tian still hadn't stepped into the next realm, but his halberd arts seemed to have improved once again. At this moment, he put down the ancient halberd in his hands and closed his eyes, directly falling asleep on the ground. However, even in his dreams, Di Tian was still practicing his halberd arts. From this, one could see how strong his obsession was. This sleep lasted for an entire day. When Di Tian opened his eyes, a hint of a smile could be seen in them. He involuntarily thought back to the heroic figure he met in the dark forest back then. Who said that dreams were illusory? Back then, wasn't that ancient mountain peak the link between dreams and reality? Standing up, Di Tian once again practiced his halberd arts. His lips curled up in a smile, and if there was someone here who saw his current halberd arts, they would definitely be stunned. Finally, Di Tian abandoned his halberd and began to practice his sword arts. Most probably, he understood that it would be extremely difficult for him to make any more breakthroughs in his halberd arts within a short period of time. Right now in the royal palace of Yi, the atmosphere was extremely tense. The various feudal lords and dukes gathered in the royal capital, and the various nobility clans frequently held secret meetings. In fact, there were even some major powers from the royal sacred region who came to Yi. Ever since the human emperor ordered Yi Lingshuang to barge into the Qi King manor, as well as the news of Qin Wentian challenging Yi Kongfan, the disciples of the Violet Thunder sect, everyone knew that a month later, not only would the battle between Qin Wentian and Yi Kongfan occur, it would also be the final battle of the royal clan of Yi. The Qi King's patience was truly strong. If the human emperor didn't make a move, he would rather wait. If it wasn't for his patience, he wouldn't have been able to heavily injure the human emperor back then. Such an opportunity was extremely rare. Yi was an ancient country with a history of over 10,000 years. Its foundation was extremely deep, and its strength was only inferior to the 9 great sections. If the Yi country was going to undergo an upheaval, all the major powers in the royal sacred region would pay attention to it. No wonder the current Yi country was in a state of turmoil. It was unknown how many experts were rushing over, wanting to witness this historic moment. Within a manor in the royal capital, a group of young experts could be seen, all of them exuding an extraordinary aura. Their faces were clearly etched with pride and self-confidence. Among them, there was a female whose radiance was exceptionally dazzling. She was clad in a fiery phoenix robe and was incomparably beautiful. However, the heroic aura she exuded made people not dare to look directly at her. This female was none other than Li Hanyu, the personal disciple of the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness of the Battle Sword sect. The young men around her were all from the same sect as her. Second Grandpa, why did our clan also send people to Yi? Li Hanyu stared at a cold-looking middle-aged man as she asked in bewilderment. How can we miss the upheaval of the royal clan of Yi? Didn't your battle sword sect send people here as well? Even the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness has sent someone over. I'm sure this matter is extremely important to you. The middle-aged man smiled. Although he was already 100 years old, he looked extremely spirited, like he was in his 40s. Master has indeed sent a few elders over. It's just that there's something I don't understand. Can Second Grandpa please enlighten me? Li Hanyu continued. Do you really think that the Qi King of Yi would dare to betray the royal clan alone? Which ancient country didn't have countless corpses piled up when they were vying for the position of the human emperor? Only by trampling on the corpses of the geniuses of their own clan would they be able to dominate the other kings and unify the ancient country. The human emperor of Yi, Yi Qingyun, was extremely glorious back then. At the start, he wasn't looked upon favorably by others, but after a single day, he rose up, radiating boundless radiance. At the burial gorge 1,000 miles away from the royal capital of Yi, Yi Qingyun killed a path of blood, sending over 10 geniuses of the royal clan of Yi to their deaths. After that, Yi Qingyun carried Yi Tianxiang's head into the royal palace. From then on, in order to prevent the royal clan from killing each other, the previous human emperor conferred him as the successor. After that, regardless of whether it was the outstanding Qi King or the arrogant Su King, none of them could shake his position as the crown prince until he ascended to the throne. The middle-aged man slowly spoke, his tone filled with respect. How could the human emperor of a generation be simple? Li Hanyu clenched her fists tightly after she heard the story. Her beautiful eyes shone with a brilliant light as she recalled her identity. Right now, although she was extremely dazzling, there were still a few other similarly dazzling existences in the Li clan. The Qi king has been suppressed by the human emperor Yi Qingyun for many years. The disparity in strength between the two of them naturally isn't small. If it's only the various kings and kings of Yi, the Qi king would definitely not dare to have any thoughts of rebellion. Yi Qingyun's iron-blooded methods are something they have all experienced before. Who would dare to be so brazen when he brought the head of his own brother into the royal palace? I'm sure the Qi king would never be able to forget that scene. The middle-aged man coldly laughed as he continued. However, the human emperor Yi Qingyun himself was incomparably arrogant, yet his descendants didn't manage to inherit his glory. Maybe the rumors are true. Back then Yi Qingyun had a miraculous encounter that allowed him to rise up in the royal clan. Hence, his talent was ordinary, hence his descendants were also ordinary. However, the son of the Qi king, Yi Kongfan, had outstanding talent and was highly regarded by the Violet Thunder sect, giving the Qi king an opportunity. Second Grandpa, are you saying that the Violet Thunder sect is the mastermind behind this change in the royal clan? Li Hanyu felt a chill in her heart. Juniors like them only cared about cultivation and rarely came into contact with such secret matters. Naturally. If not, how could the human emperor have fallen to such a state? Also, isn't your Battle Sword sect also involved in this matter? Do you really think that the Battle Sword sect sent people to escort Yi Lingshuang back to Yi is just to protect her? If I'm not wrong, the change in the royal clan this time around would definitely implicate many major powers. The eyes of the middle-aged man flashed with a meaningful smile. Upon seeing that Li Hanyu still wanted to ask, he interrupted, Hanyu, you don't have to care too much about this. You only need to know that as long as you are strong, all schemes are useless. The reason why the human emperor was able to rule Yi for so many years wasn't because he was proficient in governing the country, but because of his unparalleled combat prowess. Hanyu understands. Li Hanyu bowed and nodded. Since you're in the Battle Sword sect, are you acquainted with Qin Wentian? It's rumored that this man challenged Yi Kongfan with a cultivation base at the 4th level of Heavenly Dipper. How audacious! The middle-aged man suddenly asked. Li Hanyu frowned as she recalled the silhouette who rejected the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereignness. After which, she replied, I don't have much interaction with him, I've only met him once. He's an extremely arrogant fellow, and I'm afraid the odds are against him. He will die in Yi Kongfan's hands. The middle-aged man surnamed Li casually nodded, he didn't continue speaking. His gaze turned in the direction of the royal palace of Yi, as though his eyes could penetrate through space. Not only did the Li clan send their experts, there were also other major powers in the royal palace of Yi, including the royal clans of ancient countries. As for why they were here, everyone was very clear in their hearts. It was just that ordinary people and those of the younger generations didn't know much about it. Qin Wentian naturally wouldn't know about these secrets. After exiting his seclusion, he and Imo Qinqing went to pay a visit to the human emperor. The human emperor was the same as before, still lying on the bed. However, Qin Wentian and Imo Qinqing both knew that the injuries of the human emperor should have already healed. As to why he was still lying there, it was undoubtedly because he wanted to lure the snake out of its hole. Just like that day when he ordered Yi Lingshuang to barge into the Qi King manor, he was certain that the Qi King wouldn't fight to the death. Finally, the deadline of a month arrived. The morning sun rose high up in the sky, its rays shining upon the ancient royal palace, causing the entire place to be filled with vitality. Outside the sleeping quarters of the human emperor, on the flight of stairs, everyone inclined their heads, staring at the rising sun. They knew that a storm was about to arrive. The war country, the Grand Marshal King and the Crown Prince of the war country are here to pay a visit to the human emperor of Yi. At this moment, a voice thundered through the skies above the royal palace of Yi. Countless people inclined their heads as their hearts pounded violently. The war country was the same as Yi, an ancient country with a history of 10,000 years. Their strength was tyrannical, and the Grand Marshal King was the strongest nobility in the war country. Princess Jianluan of the Spirit One country is here to pay a visit to the human emperor of Yi. The Li clan is here to pay a visit to the human emperor of Yi. The barbarian clan is here to pay a visit to the human emperor of Yi. Numerous voices rang out unceasingly in the skies above the royal palace of Yi. Every single voice that rang out caused the hearts of the people to palpitate violently. Chapter 544. The blazing sun hung high up in the sky, illuminating the ancient palace of Yi. Waves of terrifying might gushed over from afar. The human emperor was lying on his bed. He opened his eyes as a bright light flashed within them. After which, he roared, "Prepare the banquet." As the sound of his voice faded, a moment later, a group of silhouettes appeared outside the royal palace. No one obstructed them. These silhouettes moved in a grandiose manner, causing a stifling pressure to be felt everywhere they passed. At the same time, outside the human emperor's palace, on the flight of stairs leading up to the ancient pathway made of white dragon jade, more and more attendants arrived. They arranged tables and chairs, as well as precious fruits and wine. In the short time it took for an incense stick to burn, hundreds of tables had already been set up, lined up on both sides of the pathway. In the middle of the pathway, there was a long corridor where more and more people approached, their gazes fixated on the flight of stairs ahead. "We came here to disturb the human emperor, we beg for your forgiveness." These people's voices were loud and clear. Although they were asking for forgiveness, there wasn't much respect in them. "Don't worry about it. Everyone, please be seated." The human emperor's voice rang out once more. Momentarily, the experts from the various powers all took their seats. The surrounding soldiers of the human emperor's bloodline were all extremely nervous. They could naturally sense how powerful these people were. Any one of them could give off a stifling pressure. This was especially so for the few people at the front. One of them was a middle-aged man with an incomparably imposing countenance. He was clad in golden royal robes and just casually sitting there, yet his battle intent towered up into the skies, akin to a god of war. Everywhere his gaze passed by, only a few people dared to match his gaze. This man was none other than the strongest person in the war country, the Grand Marshal King. Beside him, there was a young man with a handsome countenance. His resplendent eyes surveyed the surroundings, as though he wasn't afraid at all. This man was a prince of the war country. That young man turned his gaze onto a female in front of him. His expression froze for a moment as a bright light flashed in his eyes. That female was radiating a resplendent light, as though there was a halo of light enveloping her, causing others to not dare to stare directly at her. Her beauty was unparalleled. This female was none other than Princess Tian of the Spirit One country. Beside her, there was another female with outstanding looks, exuding an awe-inspiring aura. Below them were the leaders of the Li clan and barbarian race. The barbarians were all tall and sturdy, giving off a feeling of strength. Those from the Li clan all had reserved expressions, giving off a feeling of calmness. Only Li Hanyu was different. Her beautiful eyes stared at the few outstanding youths around her, as a hint of competitive intent flashed in her eyes. This was especially so for Princess Tian, whose fame was even greater than hers. Every time she glanced over, her eyes would blaze with a desire to battle. The Qi King, the Su King, the Ghost King, the Han King, pay our respects to the human emperor. Numerous voices rang out from afar. From afar, more and more silhouettes entered the royal palace. In just an instant, several figures could be seen walking over. The people in the lead were all from the nobility of Yi. The human emperor didn't give the order and they had already entered. Everyone knew very well why they were here today. "Be seated." A voice rang out from within the chambers of the human emperor. Back then, other than the Qi King who was the leader, the other nobility were all hiding in the shadows. But now, the nobility could no longer conceal themselves. All of them stood out, wanting to force the human emperor to abdicate. As the nobility sat down, the gazes of many landed on a young man beside the Qi king. This young man was none other than Yi Kongfan, a disciple of the Violet Thunder sect. From the chambers of the human emperor, silhouettes walked out one after another. They were none other than the crown prince and Yi Lingshuang. After which, the maidens of the Medicine Sovereign Valley escorted Mo Qingcheng as she walked out. Beside her, there was a young man who exuded an aura of tranquility and tranquility. However, his eyes were as deep as the starry skies, resplendent yet bottomless. This young man was none other than Qin Wentian. Upon seeing Mo Qingcheng, the eyes of many brightened. Even the crown prince of the war country and Princess Jianluan couldn't help but tremble as they silently mused in their hearts. What a beauty! Such a transcendent beauty, as expected of the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley. No wonder Yi Kongfan's love turned into hatred, causing him to slander her. These people dispersed to the two sides of the hall. After which, a figure slowly walked out. This figure seemed calm, with no aura at all. But the instant he appeared, the gazes of everyone instantly landed on him. The human emperor of Yi Qingyun. The eyes of the Qi king, Su king and the others involuntarily narrowed as a cold light flashed in their eyes. Yi Qingyun had actually woken up. Not only that, his countenance was rosy, and he seemed to be brimming with energy. However, when they thought about the fact that the poison they inflicted on him had no antidote, unless the medicine sovereign personally appeared, it was impossible for the holy maiden to cure him. This was why they were so at ease. Right now, the human emperor was most probably preparing for his final struggle before his death. He must have used some sort of secret art that allowed him to regain his vigor before death. Upon thinking of this, their hearts were at ease as they sat there unmoving. They were only astonished that the human emperor was strong enough to endure the poison for so many days without dying. Only to see the silhouettes of guards appearing, bringing over a dragon throne. The human emperor sat on it, his gaze sweeping over everyone as he spoke. "Everyone, what's the purpose of your visit?" As the sound of his voice faded, the crowd didn't know how to reply. A cold smile flickered in the eyes of the human emperor. He then turned his gaze onto the Qi king and the others as he laughed. "My royal brothers, all of you came here without my permission. Are you unhappy with me, your royal brother?" The Qi king's countenance flickered as he stared at the smile on the human emperor's face. He couldn't fathom what the human emperor was thinking. "Yi Qingyun, you are a ruthless person. Back then when you were seizing the throne, you killed your own brothers and sisters, taking their heads as a show of force. Your crimes are unpardonable. Now that you've governed the Yi country for so many years, you've killed countless people and even ordered people to barge into the Qi king manor. I feel that it's time for my royal brother to step down." The Han king coldly spoke. As the sound of his voice faded, the entire space turned sluggish. These words of his were extremely disgraceful, yet he had clearly stated his intentions for coming here today. Evidently, he was already prepared for a decisive battle. The human emperor stared at the Han king. That smile in his eyes actually caused the Han king to feel a chill down his spine. "If you want me to step down, it's very simple. You can chop off my head as a show of force and the position of the human emperor will be yours. But before that, I'm still the human emperor of Yi. Not long ago, I heard the Qi king's useless son slandering the holy maiden of the Medicine Sovereign Valley and even instigated the Eastern Mountain Marquis to kill my foster son. Truly an eye-opener." The human emperor then turned his gaze onto the Qi king and his son as he coldly spoke. "A man of character is decisive when it comes to killing. His heart is filled with venom, but as a descendant of the royal clan, a genius from the Violet Thunder sect, my foster son invited you to battle on the royal battle platform but you actually didn't dare to do so. You've thrown the face of my royal clan. With such a nephew, even this emperor is ashamed because of you." Yi Kongfan stared into the eyes of the human emperor as his body trembled. The human emperor humiliated him in public. Although he was incomparably enraged in his heart, he didn't dare to retort. "Royal brother, don't you think it's beneath your status to bully a child?" The Qi King faintly spoke. Qin Wentian surveyed the Qi King only to see that he had an ordinary countenance and didn't exude any aura at all. Yet, he gave off a sense of danger. "If it wasn't for the fact that he is a descendant of my royal clan, I wouldn't even bother to teach him a lesson. Yi Kong Fan, if you can still be considered a man of my royal clan, tell everyone here if you were the one who did those things." The human emperor stared at Yi Kong Fan, his words causing Yi Kong Fan to grit his teeth as he coldly replied, "I, Yi Kong Fan, did it." "So what of it?" "Good, that's more like a man." The human emperor faintly replied. After which, he turned his gaze onto Qin Wentian who was beside him. Qin Wentian took a step forward, staring at Yi Kong Fan. Their gazes collided in the air, both of them were filled with an intense battle intent. Boom! Stepping out, Qin Wentian soared up into the air. When Yi Kong Fan saw this scene, he similarly soared up in the air as his aura erupted forth. He didn't even bother to conceal the might of a peak 7th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign as a tempest ravaged the skies. He roared in rage, "Qin Wentian, since you want to court death, I shall grant you your wish." As the sound of his voice faded, Yi Kongfan's bloodline erupted forth as lightning crackled in the air. With his body as the center, a terrifying lightning giant appeared behind him, resembling a god of lightning. At this moment, Yi Kongfan's aura was extremely terrifying, wanting to destroy everything with lightning alone. "Coward, yet you still dare to spout such arrogant words. How shameless!" Qin Wentian's eyes gleamed with an unfathomable light. His aura changed abruptly, becoming incomparably demonic as his bloodline thrummed. Astral light shone resplendently, akin to a descendant of a primordial demon king. The 5th level of Heavenly Dipper, seems like he has broken through. In addition to the amplification from his bloodline, his aura is already at the 6th level. Such a bloodline is actually able to break through to the next level, and there's even a towering demonic chi around him. I wonder what kind of bloodline this is. However, Yi Kongfan's bloodline is also extremely powerful. With the Calamity Lightning bloodline, I wonder how many times stronger his attacks would be. The spectators inclined their heads and stared at the skies, feeling fear in their hearts as they stared at the eruption of auras from the two of them. Most probably, one of them would die today, but they had no idea who it would be. Unleashing the Fiend transformation art, Qin Wentian's body was clad in an ancient demonic armor. His entire body exuded an aura that caused the hearts of the spectators to tremble. In the center of his brows, a vertical beam of light could be seen, resembling a demonic eye. "Is this the reason why you are so confident?" Yi Kongfan stared at the transformation of Qin Wentian, yet he was still as confident as ever. His eyes flashed with a terrifying killing intent as he slowly stepped out. "Just this much and you will die for sure." Lightning filled the skies, akin to the light of calamity, enveloping Yi Kongfan's fist. His silhouette was like the wind, instantly appearing before Qin Wentian. With a howl of rage, he punched out, exuding a towering might. The thunder god behind him was howling as a terrifying ancient demonic silhouette appeared in the air above him. Boundless might gathered on his fist as it smashed out, causing the entire space to be destroyed. This fist was like a gigantic maw of destruction, capable of devouring everything in its path. Thunder God's annihilation from the Violet Thunder sect. When this innate technique is unleashed by Yi Kongfan, I wonder how terrifying would it be. Qin Wentian lifted his palms in response. The divine energy in his body erupted forth as all four of his Yuanfu rumbled. This was especially so for his first Yuanfu, every single grain of divine energy contained a destructive might. Ping! The attacks of the two of them collided as the shockwaves of destruction gushed forth, ripping their robes apart. Qin Wentian only felt the destructive might of the tribulation lightning gushing into his body, while Yi Kongfan felt as though his arms were about to be torn apart by the destructive might. Both of them were in unbearable pain. Qin Wentian, die. Yi Kongfan roared. Above his head, strands of tribulation lightning cascaded downwards, converging into incomparably sharp blades that slashed towards Qin Wentian. Despite the intense pain, he didn't retreat in the slightest. He wanted to kill Qin Wentian on the spot. As long as he used absolute strength to kill Qin Wentian, who would still dare to say that he, Yi Kongfan, was a coward? The victor shall be king. Chapter 545. Qin Wentian inclined his head and howled in rage. His sword chi towered up the heavens as his astral nova stabilized the space around him. His sword chi ravaged the area, suppressing the destructive might of the descending lightning. Yi Kongfan coldly snorted. His palms trembled as he grabbed towards Qin Wentian. At the same time, the two astral novas behind him manifesting an incomparably gigantic thunder god palm that grabbed towards Qin Wentian. The entire space trembled, and in an instant, the entire heavens and earth trembled. Qin Wentian's entire body was enveloped by lightning as the thunder god palm imprint abruptly clenched, as though he was looking at a dead man. A cold smile flickered in Yi Kongfan's eyes as he stared at Qin Wentian. It was as though he was looking at a dead man. The spectators below all felt their hearts trembling when they saw the thunder god palm imprint. Seems like the disparity in strength between the two of them wasn't small. This Qin Wentian would definitely be heavily injured even if he didn't die. Li Hanyo's eyes flashed with disdain. If Qin Wentian only had this little bit of strength, wouldn't he be looked down upon by others? Throwing away the face of the battle sword sect. Back then, he actually dared to reject the invitation of her master, the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness. Roar! An earth-shattering roar of rage rang out. At the same time, Yi Kongfan's palms trembled violently as the tribulation lightning in that area exploded. The destructive chi ravaged the entire space, tearing everything apart. However, at the same time, the spectators only saw a demonic beast appearing in the air. It was none other than the demon sovereign astral nova. After letting out a roar, its gigantic body shielded Qin Wentian, allowing the destructive lightning to ravage its body. Its defense was extremely terrifying. The destructive might of the tribulation lightning had no way to break through it. Qin Wentian stared at the frozen smile on Yi Kongfan's face. Abruptly, his palms grabbed out in the air as his demon sovereign astral soul also did the same thing, grabbing towards the void. This was an innate technique that Yi Kongfan had used earlier. How is that possible? Yi Kongfan's countenance sharpened as bolts of lightning shot out from his eyes. But at this moment, the entire space around him trembled violently as though it was being grabbed by an immense force. Indeed, it was extremely similar to his innate technique. Qin Wentian actually managed to learn it in the blink of an eye. Was this something impossible? It was just that the destructive might of the lightning was replaced by the incomparably tyrannical demonic energy. Boom! Qin Wentian abruptly clenched his fist, causing the entire space to tremble. A terrifying pulsating force blasted forth, blasting into Yi Kongfan. Yi Kongfan's bloodline power howled in rage as boundless divine lightning blasted forth, destroying that formless energy. His long hair fluttered in the wind as his black hair actually turned violet. The mandate of lightning at the perfection boundary. The countenances of the spectators all flashed with sharpness. Yi Kongfan was at the peak of the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, and his 2nd level mandate of lightning had already reached the perfection boundary. His talent in the aspect of lightning was truly shocking. No wonder he had the Calamity Lightning bloodline and the Heavenly Lightning physique. Yi Kongfan, whose violet hair fluttered in the wind, grew even more violent. He stared at Qin Wentian as the power of the wind enveloped him. How could he not cultivate speed? Hence, he chose to cultivate the mandate of wind. The 1st level was speed, and the 2nd level was wind lacerations. As the foundation for increasing his speed, his attack power would also increase as well. This way, when he faced his opponents, He wouldn't have to worry about his opponents using their speed to flee. An unparalleled attack power coupled with sufficient speed was a perfect combination. There were some Wuxia who preferred to add defense as well, but Yi Kongfan didn't. What he pursued was the strongest attack power possible. You've cultivated an imitation-type innate technique. Yi Kongfan stared at Qin Wentian. Do you think it's useful? In the face of absolute power, everything else is but an illusion. As Yi Kongfan spoke, a brilliant light flashed as a violet long spear appeared. This long spear emanated a towering destructive might. It was none other than one of his astral novas. The spectators only saw the lightning giant behind Yi Kongfan radiating waves of tribulation lightning. The long spear was grasped in his hands, and at the same time, a pair of wings of wind appeared. The 4 astral novas combined together, transforming into a true thunder slaughter god, standing guard behind Yi Kongfan. Ordinary 7th-level Heavenly Dipper sovereigns wouldn't even be able to withstand a single strike from him. I'll let you see what a perfect combination of astral novas is. Even if you die, you can still be proud of yourself. Yi Kongfan emotionlessly spoke. The hearts of the spectators below trembled. The thunder slaughter god formed from 4 astral novas was indeed extremely terrifying. You really talk too much nonsense. Qin Wentian cursed in a low voice. After which, his astral novas appeared simultaneously. The demon sovereign astral nova, wielding a heavenly hammer in his hands. With a roar of rage, the entire space trembled as boundless power gushed forth. The combination of the demon sovereign astral nova and the heavenly hammer was a combination of demonic and physical force. How terrifying was the power contained within! An ancient halberd appeared in the hands of the sleeping astral nova, standing on the left of Qin Wentian. The king's sword floated in the center, forming a 3-pronged formation. My cultivation base is at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper. How can your astral novas compare to mine? Shatter it! Yi Kongfan roared. Momentarily, the lightning giant formed from his astral novas whistled through the air as a destructive violet long spear pierced out. The tribulation lightning descended, wanting to destroy everything. The spectators only saw a beam of violet light shooting towards Qin Wentian in the blink of an eye. Roar, roar, roar. The demon sovereign astral nova howled in rage. Wielding the heavenly hammer in his hands, he stomped on the air and abruptly smashed out, containing boundless might within. The astral novas of stellar martial cultivators were completely under Wuxia's control. They could unleash innate techniques just like Wuxia, and as the hammer smashed down, it felt as though the heavens and earth were about to shatter apart. The demon sovereign astral soul was actually forced to retreat. Despite that, the king's sword howled in rage as it slashed forwards. The astral novas of the heavenly great sleep halberd exploded forth, encircling the astral nova of the demon sovereign astral soul. Instantly, a battle of astral novas appeared in the air, with neither side willing to give way. Both sides were evenly matched. Your astral nova is truly weak. If I was at your level, I would only need a single strike to shatter your astral nova. Qin Wentian stood in the air, controlling his astral nova as he mocked Yi Kongfan. Yi Kongfan's countenance drastically changed. He was 2 levels higher than Qin Wentian, and his astral nova was naturally stronger. Yet, he actually couldn't suppress Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian's 4 astral novas were different from others. Each and every one of them contained a unique energy that was extremely condensed. It was as though the astral energy in the Yuanfu that nurtured them was much stronger than Qin Wentian's. Seems like Qin Wentian's astral nova is able to suppress Yi Kongfan in all aspects. The human emperor laughed. Although the Qi king didn't want to admit it, this was the truth. If not, Qin Wentian's astral nova wouldn't possess such destructive might, allowing him to contend against Yi Kongfan's astral nova. Han Yu, this man seems to be stronger than what you said. In the direction of the Li clan, Li Hanyo's second grandfather slowly spoke, his words causing Li Hanyo's countenance to turn somewhat unsightly. This Qin Wentian was truly powerful. If she were to fight against Qin Wentian, she wouldn't dare to say that she would be able to win. In truth, this was all because of Li Hanyo's own heart. She wasn't willing to admit that she was inferior to Yi Kongfan. If the person fighting against Yi Kongfan right now was a 7th level Heavenly Dipper sovereign, she might admit that she wouldn't be able to win against him. But it was precisely because Qin Wentian's cultivation base was the same as hers. How could she admit that she was inferior to Qin Wentian? The chaotic energy currents in the air continued as the two astral novas clashed against each other. Qin Wentian and Yi Kongfan stood there motionlessly, staring at each other as killing intent surged in the air. Qin Wentian, I admit that your strength isn't bad. But since you challenged me, you are simply courting death. Today, you won't be able to survive. Earlier, I was merely playing with you. Yi Kongfan coldly spoke, his eyes still flickering with arrogance and disdain. Naturally, he wasn't playing around. Initially, he thought that his strength was already sufficient to kill Qin Wentian, yet he failed to do so. Hence, he could only use an even stronger method to kill Qin Wentian. No matter what, Qin Wentian would die for sure. There was no way he could escape this calamity. If your strength was as powerful as your mouth, I'm afraid no one in the Violet Thunder sect would be a match for you. Qin Wentian mocked. This Yi Kongfan didn't seem to have any advantage, yet every sentence he spoke made it sound as though Qin Wentian would die for sure. If this was the case, why wasn't he dead yet? This will be the last time. Next, you shall die under the lightning tribulation. Yi Kongfan slowly spoke. The power of his bloodline erupted forth once more, incomparably turbulent. Lightning engulfed his entire body, and within that incomparably resplendent lightning, Yi Kongfan stretched out his hand and actually pulled out a lightning tribulation spear. Tribulation lightning bloodline, heavenly lightning physique, these were his strongest abilities. Prepare to die. As the sound of Yi Kongfan's voice faded, his silhouette vanished like a gust of wind. In an instant, he passed through the tyrannical astral novas, slamming downwards from the sky. Qin Wentian inclined his head only to see a beam of violet light flashing past. This was none other than Yi Kongfan's lightning tribulation spear piercing downwards. Under the might of this violet light, all lives would be annihilated. The spectators were all shocked. This strike was more than sufficient to kill Qin Wentian. Boom! Astral light erupted forth, stellar transposition. Yi Kongfan was like a beam of violet light piercing through the air. His entire body was bathed in violet lightning, and even his hair was violet in color. He exuded an incomparably heroic aura as he stared at the afterimages of Qin Wentian. I want to see how many more strikes you can dodge. As the sound of his voice faded, Yi Kongfan rushed out once more, transforming into a beam of violet light. However, the astral light flashed again, and Qin Wentian transformed into a series of afterimages once more. Even with the augmentation of the mandate of wind, Yi Kongfan's speed was still slower than stellar transposition. However, he wasn't discouraged. With such an innate technique, Qin Wentian's consumption rate would surely be extremely fast. Sooner or later, he would die. Yi Kongfan. At this moment, Qin Wentian's voice rang out. Yi Kongfan inclined his head and stared at Qin Wentian, only to see a murderous light flickering in Qin Wentian's eyes. The time of your death has arrived. Qin Wentian calmly spoke. Although Yi Kongfan's strength had also exceeded his expectations, Yi Kongfan would still die for sure. His bloodline surged as a blood-colored light appeared within Qin Wentian's body. This terrifying blood-colored light actually transformed into an extremely dangerous blood halberd that contained a violent demonic might. Bzzz. Qin Wentian's silhouette transformed into a series of afterimages, moving as fast as lightning. He was precisely using the speed of stellar transposition to activate his halberd arts. As the halberd slashed out, the howls of demonic beasts could be faintly heard as a dreamlike illusion gushed into Yi Kongfan's sea of consciousness, causing his countenance to stiffen. He lifted his halberd and stabbed out, causing calamitous light to flash, wanting to destroy everything. Ping! The attacks of the two collided as destructive qi currents wreaked havoc, yet neither of them were injured. Qin Wentian retreated after a single strike, yet Yi Kongfan only saw a shadow appearing in another direction, slashing out with his halberd once again, accompanied by the roars of the demonic beasts. Halberd strike after halberd strike, it was as though there was no end to it. Yi Kongfan didn't dare to be the slightest bit careless as he adopted a defensive stance. With such an attack, Qin Wentian wouldn't be able to sustain it for too long. His astral energy would be depleted soon. The blood-colored light enveloped the entire space. Yi Kongfan bit his lips as blood seeped out, forcing himself to remain clear-headed, not allowing the dreamlike illusion to invade his will. Within the blood-colored light, many shadows of Qin Wentian appeared, to the point where it was almost impossible to distinguish which was the real one. Humph, if this continues, he will die for sure. The Han Emperor coldly snorted as he stared at the battle in the air. But at this moment, the Qi Emperor's brows suddenly furrowed as a piercing sound rang out. Boom! The Qi Emperor abruptly stood up as a terrifying might engulfed the heavens and earth. At the instant he furrowed his brows, a blood-colored ancient halberd pierced through Yi Kongfan's head, a terrifying sight to behold. Yi Kongfan's eyes widened in anger as he stared in front of him. He didn't even know how he died. There was clearly no attack coming from this direction. Why did a life-ending halberd strike appear? Chapter 546. The afterimages dissipated, leaving behind only Qin Wentian wielding the ancient halberd, standing there proudly. Yi Kongfan's life force had yet to dissipate. He stared fixedly at Qin Wentian. Even now, he still didn't dare to believe that he would die under Qin Wentian's halberd techniques. His cultivation base was at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, and he also had the Calamity Lightning bloodline, as well as the Heavenly Lightning physique. How tyrannical was his combat prowess! During the exchange of blows between the two of them, his attacks were clearly stronger than Qin Wentian's. Qin Wentian was able to hold on because he used the stellar transposition movement technique to temporarily take a defensive stance. But why was it that the one who died was him, Yi Kongfan? His perception was exceedingly strong. Before this, every halberd strike of Qin Wentian was accompanied by the roars of demonic beasts, and at the same time, the dreamscape corroded his mind. Only this final halberd strike was completely silent. In fact, he could even confirm that in the direction where Qin Wentian came from, there wasn't a single halberd strike at all. How did you do it? Yi Kongfan's lips were dripping with blood as he weakly spat out. Qin Wentian coldly stared at Yi Kongfan, there was no hint of pity in his eyes. He coldly spoke, "You think you're extraordinary, slandering my wife. Now that you died in my hands, do you regret it?" As the sound of his voice faded, he didn't wait for Yi Kongfan's reply. The blood halberd flashed with a resplendent light as a destructive energy erupted forth. Yi Kongfan was killed on the spot. The hearts of the spectators involuntarily trembled. Naturally, they could tell that Yi Kongfan's attacks were stronger than Qin Wentian's. But sometimes, victory or defeat wasn't determined by one's attacks alone. When Qin Wentian executed the stellar transposition technique, he had already made his final preparations, and that was also when Yi Kongfan was destined to die. Yi Kongfan couldn't tell, but how could those ascendants not see the might of that final halberd strike? This halberd strike was definitely created by Qin Wentian himself. It was soundless and had absolute speed and destructive power. But the most fatal point was that this halberd strike was actually able to conceal itself within the void. Or more accurately, it was able to confuse the eyes of those who saw it. Qin Wentian had already fused the illusory into reality. This halberd strike that was filled with creativity was truly breathtaking. Qin Wentian with a cultivation base at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper killed the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper, the son of the Qi King, Yi Kongfan of the Violet Thunder sect. Many experts stared at the silhouette of the young man in the air, silently musing that if this young man didn't die, he would definitely become a character that could dominate an entire region in the future. The reason why the human emperor accepted him as his foster son was because he hoped that he would have such a successor to inherit his legacy. Junior brother Qin's strength is so powerful. Lu Yun murmured. Duan Han nodded his head as he spoke, it's like I've seen the essence of the 8th to 14th sword strike of the grass hut. Junior brother Qin's attacks should have already reached that level. No wonder he was able to comprehend 14 sword strikes in one go, breaking the record of our battle sword sect. Li Hanyo's countenance was extremely unsightly to behold. She didn't expect that Qin Wentian would actually be able to kill Yi Kongfan. Back then when Qin Wentian broke the record of the grass hut, the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness personally invited her over, causing her to feel extremely unhappy in her heart. How could she feel that she was inferior to Qin Wentian whose cultivation base was weaker than hers? But now, Qin Wentian's cultivation base was already the same as hers, at the 5th level of Heavenly Dipper. In addition to that, he also domineeringly killed the genius of the Violet Thunder sect, Yi Kongfan. Even if she didn't want to admit it, she understood that she was inferior to Qin Wentian. This feeling of inferiority caused the proud Li Hanyu to feel extremely uncomfortable. She was a genius of the Li clan, a personal disciple of the Plum Mountain Sword Sovereigness, while Qin Wentian had just entered the battle sword sect. Everyone had their own thoughts in their hearts, but the person who was the most enraged was undoubtedly the Qi King. Yi Kongfan had always been the son he was extremely proud of. He came here today with the intention of killing Qin Wentian, yet he didn't expect that his son would be killed right in front of him. By the time he sensed that something was wrong, it was already too late. Yi Kongfan had many life-saving methods on him, but that fatal halberd strike didn't give him any time to react. Upon personally witnessing Yi Kongfan's death, towering anger erupted from the Qi King. His entire body crackled with lightning as crackling sounds echoed out. His eyes were bloodshot as his silhouette flickered, catching the falling body of Yi Kongfan. His entire person was bathed in lightning, exuding a supreme might. My son. The Qi King stared at the corpse of Yi Kongfan whose head had exploded. He inclined his head as his killing intent towered up into the skies. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered, he only felt a terrifying pressure boring down on him as a towering will bore down on him. He groaned in misery as he coughed out a mouthful of fresh blood. Astral light flashed as stellar transposition was executed. Qin Wentian retreated with explosive speed. Impudent! The human emperor roared, causing the entire space to tremble. However, the Qi King didn't seem to care at all. He grabbed out with his palm, manifesting a lightning palm imprint that could destroy everything. Qin Wentian only felt that doomsday had arrived. However, at this moment, the light from the constellation in the sky flashed. The constellation was incomparably resplendent, akin to the starry skies. This terrifying constellation flashed with light, directly enveloping Qin Wentian within. The lightning palm imprint blasted out with a terrifying destructive might, causing thunderous rumbling sounds to echo out, yet it didn't injure Qin Wentian at all. Qi King, seems like your son Yi Kongfan's despicable character was learned from you. His skills were inferior and he was killed by my foster son despite his cultivation base being higher than him. You actually dared to take revenge on him. Yi Kongfan truly deserved his death. The human emperor stepped out, staring down at the Qi King. Momentarily, the people below no longer had the mood to enjoy the banquet as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. The Qi King stared at the human emperor, his killing intent towering up into the skies. The human emperor actually said that his son Yi Kongfan deserved his death. Human emperor, this brat's methods are despicable, killing a prince of the royal clan yet you still want to protect him. Seems like you are no longer suitable to be the human emperor of Yi country. It's time for you to abdicate. The Su king coldly spoke. The nobility started to speak, and in an instant, the entire royal palace was enveloped by a towering might. The human emperor coldly laughed, staring at the Su king. Seems like you people are getting more and more despicable. Yi Kongfan had a cultivation base at the 7th level of Heavenly Dipper and came here to kill Wentian. Now that he was killed by Wentian, you actually dare to say such words. What a joke. Since you want me to abdicate, it's very simple. Just chop off my head and the position of the human emperor will be yours. But with just the few of you, it's not enough. Who else is there? Scram the hell out of here. This explosive roar caused the entire royal palace to tremble. How terrifying was the might of the human emperor. The human emperor of an ancient country was unrivaled in Yi country. Human emperor, it's time for you to abdicate. Another voice drifted over. In the distance, more and more experts from the nobility of ancient countries could be seen. They had long controlled over half of the royal palace and were extremely powerful. Human emperor, this brat killed a disciple of my Violet Thunder sect. Hand him over to me. At this moment, an expert from the Violet Thunder sect stepped out, pointing his finger at Qin Wentian. In a battle between juniors, there's no grudges between them. You, a celestial phenomenon ascendant, actually want to participate in this? Do you want to start a war with the Battle Sword sect? The human emperor swept his gaze over. I naturally won't participate in a battle between juniors. But since he killed Yi Kongfan of my Violet Thunder sect, there will naturally be disciples from my Violet Thunder sect who will kill him. Human emperor, by protecting him, you are making an enemy out of my Violet Thunder sect. The aura of the old man surged, his voice was cold and filled with a hint of threat. Qin Wentian stared at the silhouette stepping out as his heart pounded. Seems like the Qi King and the others had made ample preparations. Even though the human emperor was poisoned, they still laid out an inescapable net, not intending to let the human emperor live. As for the people from the Violet Thunder sect wanting to capture him, that was merely an excuse for them to make a move against the human emperor. The human emperor laughed maniacally when he heard that, causing the entire space to tremble. His gaze swept over the experts in the air as he coldly spoke, how ridiculous. The Violet Thunder sect, one of the 9 great sects, actually wants to use such an excuse to deal with me. Do you really think this emperor doesn't know that the ones who surrounded me and forced the poison out of me were experts from your Violet Thunder sect? Since you've already done such a despicable thing, why do you still need to put up a front? Why should I fear you? Arrogant. Since you don't know how to repent, I shall let you die here today. The old man from the Violet Thunder sect roared. In this vast space, over 10 celestial phenomenon ascendants erupted forth with terrifying might. Behind the human emperor, Shi Xian and the others appeared, protecting the safety of the royal concubine and prince. Shi Xian stepped out, wanting to participate in the battle, yet the human emperor waved his hands, just help me protect them. If they cause chaos, I'll kill them as well. As the sound of his voice faded, Qin Wentian only felt his body being flung towards the direction of Shi Xian, not allowing him to be affected by the aftershocks of the battle. All of you have seen it clearly. In the world of cultivation, there's no such thing as logic. Whoever's fist is harder, would be the logic. In the future, no matter which path you all choose to walk, don't place your hopes on others. For the so-called great sects and clans, in the face of benefits, their masks will be torn apart. Only when you are strong enough will you be able to do what you want to do, protect the people you love, and stand above the heavens and earth. As the human emperor spoke, his constellation coalesced behind him. His astral novas fused together with his constellation, transforming into a constellation. The spectators only saw a supreme silhouette standing proudly in the skies. His palms shone with a terrifying destructive light, as well as a torrential tempest. It was unknown how fearsome it was. Back then, I was able to seize the position of the human emperor, leaving behind countless corpses. Today, I can similarly kill all of you, cleansing the traitors." After speaking, the human emperor roared in rage. In an instant, his palms blasted out explosively, extending over 10,000 meters, grabbing towards the Qi King and the others. The Qi King and the others roared in rage, unleashing their strongest attacks. However, this destructive palm imprint seemed to be able to destroy everything. Everywhere it passed by, nothing could block it. The palm imprint directly grabbed onto the body of the Han King, incomparably tyrannical. "No!" The Han King howled in rage, only to see the human emperor staring at him as his voice turned cold. "Traitors, die without mercy." As the sound of his voice faded, the palm imprint abruptly clenched, causing the Han King's body to disintegrate into nothingness, not even leaving behind a single residue. Such a scene caused the hearts of Qin Wentian and the others to tremble. The human emperor was a character that could sweep through an ancient country with a history of over 10,000 years. Those transcendent powers of Grand Xia in the past couldn't even withstand a single strike from him. How can this be? The poison in your body. The Qi King turned ashen. At this moment, the might of the human emperor was extremely tyrannical. This was definitely his combat prowess at his peak. The poison in this emperor's body has long been neutralized by the holy maiden of the medicine Sovereign Valley and my foster son, Qin Wentian. Today shall be the day of your deaths. The human emperor roared, his words causing the hearts of many to tremble. The poison in the human emperor's body was actually neutralized. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.